Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Grumpy, how are you doing this fine Sunday afternoon?
Okay. I survived a harrowing car ride back from Dallas. I rode with a menace of the highways. Reckless.
I didn't know Son X was driving you all the way back, Grump.
No, it was Son D, Son Dope, who was driving.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. It is a twice-a-week all Islanders podcast. It takes place every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You may be looking at yourself saying, what the heck is going on? There's a show Sunday afternoon. Yes, I guess Grumpy and I, we were talking about it when we were on the way back from Dallas today. We said, we've got Greg Prado, on the show on Wednesday, and we wanted to have a chance to talk a little bit about the experience we had in Dallas. And we wanted to have the ability to talk about the fantastic listeners, fantastic Islander fans we got to meet there. And we didn't want to take anything away from Greg when he's going to be on the show. We wanted to make sure that we could keep it all and dedicate the time needed to it. So we said, hey, let's do an Islander show this afternoon/evening.
So you know how that worked, right? It was TJ dictating what was going to happen and me just doing it.
Grumpy, you have free will.
Really?
Yeah.
I said I want you to drive so recklessly. You didn't heed my warnings at all.
Oh, my goodness. But for those of you who are new to the show, we welcome you to stick around a while. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter. Also, if you enjoy the content, the best way to let us know is by leaving a thumbs up. Boop. Apparently, it helps the algorithm. I don't know. That's what people tell us, at least, though.
Okay.
What do you got that smile on your face for?
Nothing.
What are you doing? Grumpy, Grumpy, now you have a different change of scenery, Grump. Now I know you're at my house. I know you got that freaking TV on now, Grump.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, good gracious.
TV's not on.
Oh gosh. But we've got a few games to talk about since our last show. Obviously we're going to talk about the Dallas Stars game, but Grump, let's talk a little bit first about the game before the Stars. We played the Nashville Predators on Thursday. Got beat by the Predators 5-4. Kind of want your initial thoughts and reactions after that.
We just came out so flat for almost 2 full periods. And then in the third period, we turned it on. I really thought we were going to win that game. And then they got that late goal to put them up 5-3. but I cannot make hide nor hair what this team is about right now. I don't understand why they come out so flat, game after game after game. Eventually, you have to say something. Hey, coach, why are you coming out so flat? I mean, the whole team. I mean, it was the whole team. I mean, Dobson and Romanov looked horrible in the first period. It was terrible. Now, I'm just going to touch a little bit on last night. They certainly came out and played better last night against Dallas, without a doubt. They did, and so maybe it's a harbinger of things to come. I hope so, because it's hard where it's like, why is this happening? And then we put on such a frantic rush at the end of the game that, okay, we're able to come back. But I mean, it's hard to win games like that night after night. And I mean, when Barry Trotz was coach, we had the same thing. We'd have a great first period, come out flat for the second, start the first poorly, come out good in the second. I mean, I just don't understand what it is with this team where we can't get consistent effort throughout the game.
Well, and I think you bring up a good point. I was talking to you and to others at the game in Dallas a little bit about that. We're in a spot to where, man, oh man, we just start slow. We start slow, Grumpy, every single game. And we didn't do that against Dallas, which we'll talk about. But we've just have been consistently starting slow. And you're right. It's like it's when the third period comes around, we turn on heavy forechecking. Every single zone entry is four guys forward with one in the back, just heavy forechecking. And against the teams that, are struggle against that and aren't necessarily used to it, I think that's how we're able to go ahead and get that quick strike. We're able to score that quick goal. And then we managed to go ahead and pound another one in the back of the net, and it completely changes the atmosphere, and momentum is always on our side. That's what's been happening as of recent. It's just something very tough to rely upon night in, night out. And, that Dallas game, Grumpy, we were at that game. Now, I thought we looked a lot better against the Dallas Stars as a complete game. I know we lost, and, you'd look at the score differential, you say, oh, wow, we lost by more to the Stars than we did the Predators. How could we say we played better against? I thought we played well overall, at least on the offensive side I thought certain players played extremely well against the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, okay, people want to draw comparisons. Dallas is a good team. Um, Peter DeBoer is the coach, and you
Yeah.
can tell he's brought some structure to that organization. They have some talented players on that team, though, but I thought we played them extremely hard. Ottinger is really, really, he reminds me of Sorokin in some regards, just how calm he is in net. And like I said, I was really impressed by him. We got to where we were sitting, we got to see 2 periods of him, including the frantic third period. And people said, well, gosh, we lost, 5-2. Yeah, but that game was 3-2. And it had a feel in the third period. I even said to TJ and a couple of people we were sitting with, I was like, this feels like next goal wins. And that's what it was when Dallas scored that third goal. That was pretty much it. We had our chance to tie it up with a frantic scramble in front of the net, but long story short, it didn't happen. And then they just added on, a late goal and then an empty netter. So
Yes, that pass that went right between, right in the goal crease where Palmieri had his stick tied up with another individual, prevents us from scoring that goal. I mean, that would have tied the game, and we had poured on a lot of pressure against the Dallas Stars, where they were kind of a little bit frantic in their own zone. And I said, "Well, here's our chance," and a good job marking the men down low, preventing them from getting that stick on the puck. And they're able to, as soon as they stop that opportunity, they go right down the ice and score in the other direction.
And I mean, that's what good teams do. Is Dallas, a great team? I don't think so, but they have some really good players. And one thing you can really appreciate when you watch games live is different than watching on TV. You can kind of focus up on certain players, and you see their game away from the puck. Like I thought Oliver Wahlstrom was terrible yesterday until we had a power play in the third period, and I thought he looked much better from then. He had jump, and I'm like, if the kid plays like that all the time, he's going to be playing with Barzal all the time. And what did I say before the game in warmups? What did I say after watching warm up? Who was going to score?
Matty B. We both
I,
said that too. Just had that feeling that Matt Barzal was going to score. And he gets the 2 goals for the New York Islanders. And just like that, right? 2 goals and 18 assists, through 18 games,
19 assists. Don't sell him
19
short.
assists. I'm sorry, Grumpy. I'm not. I'm selling them short. Um, but yeah, I wanted to talk what you mentioned about Oliver Wahlstrom. Man, oh man, during that power play, he just kind of took control, and the thing is, it just started a light flip, just switched on for us. And he had opportunity after opportunity. He got like, and that power play late in the game, he had like 3 or 4 shots in one shift. And he kind of started to engage a little bit more as the game went on. I thought that Matt Barzal was fantastic. Right? We talk about how different it is watching live versus watching from TV at home. You don't necessarily get to appreciate. I mean, you can appreciate even from the TV, but when you're there live, you appreciate more. Matt Barzal is just a magician. He's there's
He's a
nobody on our
special
team
player.
that could, or there's nobody on our team that can even dream of being able to stick handle and move as well as he does with the puck. It's like he moves. The stick and the puck are like an extension of his arm. It's like an extension of his body. He just does everything so smooth and so fluid. It's beautiful.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. And, then we look at Dallas, right? Jamie Benn is special. I mean, when you see him in person, it's like, oh man, he's something else. And Heiskanen is tremendous as well. I mean, they have more talent than we do. I think that was a difference between us winning and losing yesterday. You just see we would go up, and within a minute, they've tied it up. And I mean, I'm not saying they're a special team, but they're good, and they're gonna be a force to be reckoned with in the West. I don't know if they're gonna win. I don't think they will, but they're gonna be a tough out. They're certainly better than they were last year, and Peter DeBoer has absolutely been a positive influence on that.
Jamie Benn impressed the hell out of me. He is an unbelievable
Because you
player.
don't like Jamie Benn.
I never have been a big fan of Jamie Benn. I just don't like him. I've never been a big fan. I think he's chippy as shit. I hate him. I hate to play against him. I hate when our team plays against him. But watching what he did to just, I mean, walk right through our defense. And again, who was on defense? Halleck and Pulak out there for what was it, 2 or 3 goals against last night. I don't think they had a particularly arousing night
Mm-mm.
yesterday. But Jamie Benn is fantastic, unbelievable. He's a special player.
And as people know, now, TJ, I don't know if you have the photographic evidence, if you're able to put it up today, but
I did not yet, but let
some
me see.
people know that I've been a little hard on our pal Josh Bailey. He of the over 1,000 games, and uh, you know everything we always hear. He's so smart, and I'm like, well, is Josh Bailey trying to ever improve his game? Because it always looks the same. Every single night, it looks the same. He's afraid to go in front of the net. He's afraid to stray too far from the boards. Won't shoot the puck. Even in warmups, he really won't shoot the puck. But there was a
Was it true,
scene.
Grumpy, that when he had warm up opportunities, he was passing up
He
every
was
single time?
passing. He was passing instead of shooting, yes. And but there was one thing that I saw him, he was like on his skates and he was like Bambi. You remember Bambi from the movie Bambi, the Walt Disney movie,
Yeah,
when it's
I've
born
seen Bambi
and
before.
he's not steady on his legs. He was getting, and do you have the photographic evidence yet?
Well, paint the picture more because I've got
Okay.
it pulled. I just
Yeah.
want you to paint the picture of what this is, Grumpy, how you saw it and what you saw from Josh.
I'm like, because I've always questioned Josh Bailey sucked for so long and seems like he's never improved his game. Does he even try? We have photographic evidence that Josh Bailey, in fact, is trying to be a better player. Trying.
Yes, he
I
is
don't,
working on making sure that he
he's,
can get closer to the net
yeah,
so that
he's
he
working on
feels
his
more.
shortcomings. And here, look at him. He's staring at the crease. I mean, he's getting close. And this was a couple times he did it. And, as he moved, he was like Bambi. He was like little unsteady, kind of wobbly as he was getting close. I don't know if he was on the verge of blacking out, but he was, at least he's trying. I'm going to give him some credit. He was trying to get closer to the net. So thumbs up for Josh Bailey for attempting to solve the deficiency, at least one of them, in his game. Congratulations, Josh.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I will say this, all
And he
joking
still
aside,
sucks.
you watch the pregame warm-ups. There's a reason why certain guys are fan favorites. There's a reason why Anders Lee's a fan favorite. Guys like Matty Martz are fan favorites. The relationship they have with the kids and the people that are around and the fans that are around, it's meaningful. I tell you one thing, Anders Lee's got a big fucking smile. You forget how big of a damn he's got that big old smile on his face when he's I mean, he led the team in handing out pucks in pregame warmup, that's for certain. Him and Matty Martz going back and forth, back and forth. And you like to see that though, you know what I mean? It makes a kid's day and it makes, you know, me a trip to you know, if you're from the area, even if you're not, you want to see the Islanders. It makes, you know, it makes a special occasion for them and possibly, you know, one of those moments they never forget.
Yeah, they didn't give me a puck. They say, "Saw the grumpy old man," like, "No, we're not throwing pucks to you, buddy."
Oh
But it's
goodness.
if you ever wanna get a puck, get down close to the ice in pregame and have a young kid with you. Doesn't even have to be your own. I mean, I'm not saying you should kidnap one because we don't want those Amber Alerts going off, but, you know, if you can get yourself a kid, get down close to the ice, they'll flip you a puck.
Oh, good gracious, Grumpy.
No
Good.
Adoption had some fans there.
I was about to say we saw somebody wearing an Arcadia Bathurst shirt there from his old Quebec Major Junior Hockey League team.
Josh Bailey, not so much.
What? We didn't see any Josh Bailey fans, Grumpy? I did see some guys with Bailey jerseys on.
Yeah, they were no, that
I
was
did happen to hear last night too during the game in Dallas. We heard when it was pitch quiet. It was like maybe in between, maybe the stoppage of play. Bailey, you suck. And I was his reputation precedes him even in Dallas.
without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, he made some nice passes yesterday, but the deficiencies in his game, they're just so glaring. I mean, I don't want to bag on Josh Bailey. I
No,
just did want to mention that we did have photographic evidence, though, that he's trying to improve. Even if he's so tentative on his skates, he was kind of just walking. He wasn't actually, pushing and gliding. He was just kind of walking very gingerly towards the crease. He didn't get there, but at least he's trying. And congratulations, Josh.
hey, it's the game as a whole because I want to talk about next the people we met and the great friends that we've made in Dallas and Grump. Let me ask you about that game though. What type of takeaways do you have from it? Because I remember in pregame warmup I said, "Holy crap, that Dallas Stars team on average looks
The big.
pretty much at least everybody for the average size. They may have an inch or an inch and a half on our average size. They just look like a much bigger team."
I don't think we're that good. And I thought we played well last night,
Yeah,
but and we could have won the game, but I thought Dallas was better than we were. Um, and that's going to be a problem going forward. I said in the next 8 games we had to go 6-2. Well, we're 0-2 so far,
yeah.
and we're going to be playing a really tough Toronto team. Edmonton is a team we can beat. I still don't think they play any defense. So I think that's a team we can beat, but I think we're going to struggle against Toronto. Toronto's kind of righted the ship and they're playing much better right now. That's going to be a struggle. But then I think we got Columbus again. We got those miserable Flyers for two dates, and we should absolutely beat them both games. If we lose to the Flyers, watch out. And then we got the Blackhawks. They're not very
The
good.
Predators and the Blackhawks
Yeah, the
and the
Predators
Blues.
and the Blues. The Blues are playing better. The Predators always seem to give us trouble. We just need to start winning some games. I mean, this is the easiest part of our schedule that we have left.
And then we play the worst team in the league in the New Jersey Devils, the 12-win streak New Jersey Devils, Grumpy. Who would have ever thought?
They're good. They're
They're
good.
fantastic.
I mean, they and Boston are by far the two best teams in the league. I mean, they now is that going to last all season? No, of course not. They're not going to go. Boston's not going to go 80-2, and the Devils aren't going to go 79-3. But right now, they're two really, really good teams. I tell you what, if they played one another, I'd be really interested in watching that game.
Mm, absolutely. It's you see the skilled play on ice when you watch those teams. And I mean, I'll tell you, the one thing about the Devils, unbelievably quick, fast. That's the same thing I noticed about the Dallas Stars. Really a fast team out there and a very talented, skilled team with good goaltending. I mean, Peter DeBoer, you're getting that new coach jump, and they look very talented. They look very skilled on the ice. That's for certain. I want to talk a little bit about the friends and the people we had met. Obviously, big thank you to John M. there and his son Ian that we met at the game, and they were the ones who got us those tickets, and we got to meet and hang out with there extensively, and kind of getting to hear a little bit about their journey to being Islander fans and a little bit about what they experienced down there in Dallas, Texas was fantastic. And being able to sit with them and talk with them throughout the entirety of the game was a great time. Wouldn't you say, Grump?
Yeah,
Got
it
some,
was fantastic. Everyone, I've often said the Islanders community is just so wonderful. I mean, always good people, down to earth people,
yeah.
none of the snooty types like we get from, the people closer to the city. I mean, just regular people, as I like to call them, like we are. And it was a pleasure to meet everyone we met. TJ, you have all the
Well, yeah,
names.
yeah. Well, I'm just talking about, with John at first, man. We got lunch.
Yeah,
We got to go eat down with them and kind of get to know them a little bit more on a personal level. And we really did enjoy that. And
yeah.
again, so thankful for what they had kind of helped set up there and set up for us. So again, very thankful there to John. And it was funny. Alexander, a steady, consistent listener to the show. We were walking into the game, and I pointed out to the grumpy old man. I said, I'm pretty sure that's Alexander. He had messaged us beforehand, and we were going to meet up. And sure enough, we met Alexander and his niece and the family there. And man, of course, we talked a little bit of Tua Tagovailoa. Of course, we talked some Islanders. And it's fantastic to meet the same people that listen to the show and that you communicate with on a regular basis, week in, week out, and to meet them outside of the parameters of the internet and actually in real life.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was a pleasure except for his niece because she's wearing a Dallas Stars jersey. I'm like, what the heck's going on with that?
She pulled for the hometown teams. I can't fault her. She's pulling for the hometown team wherever she goes.
Yeah, whatever.
What do you mean, whatever?
She should have been wearing an Islander jersey like I was.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, don't worry. We'll get to that. We'll get to that, Grumpy. Then we met Christian and Sawadi. They came over and at an intermission, and we got to meet them and kind of talk a little bit of Islanders, talk some shop with them. And it's funny to hear how everybody enjoys the show and kind of everybody was so thoughtful with kind of what they had added in and kind of spoken a little bit about what the show provides to them, and that means a lot. I mean, this is just Grumpy and I. Trust me, we don't do this for any other reason besides just to talk hockey with him and I and to talk with you guys. It's the reason we do this show. Nothing else really. And it was a pleasure meeting them both as well. I mean, talking a little bit about the journey they had there to the game and talking a little bit about what they have now seen after they started listening to the show and how they got introduced to the show. It was one of those collaborations with Andy and Phil and yourself and myself, Grumpy, during the postseason last year.
Yeah, and for those who didn't know this, TJ only went to the bathroom 5 times yesterday during the game.
Oh, don't mischaracterize that, Grumpy. I didn't go 5
Oh, okay, you went 5
times.
times. You went 5 times. You wanna know because I had to keep on getting up and down and up and down and up and down out of my seat because TJ was wearing out a path in the cement to go to that bathroom.
Grumpy during the game was being he was again, like I know he was trying to be the most
I was.
obnoxious fan that he could. And I was about to say, I'm like, okay, Grumpy, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I told you before the show, Alexander said it was his stepdaughter. Grumpy swore up and down, no, Alexander introduced herself as her niece. I'm like, no, he said
I
stepdaughter, Grump.
I no, I know okay, I'm not gonna yeah,
I never listen to you again. I'm never listening to you again, grumpy
I
old
know
man.
it was his
Ever.
stepdaughter.
Anyway, you listen to Grumpy Old Man once. Yeah, don't worry. We got news to talk about the trip, but I want to talk a little bit more about the people we had met too before I kind of derail the conversation and bring it somewhere else. But not 5 times. Maybe it was like 3, maybe 3 or 4. Was it really 5 times?
5 times.
I did have a lot of soda when I was at the game. What can I say?
Uh,
Um,
5 times. 5 times.
and after the game, we met Delaney, Rich, and Jimmy, the family there, and that was great to meet them too. And people that are close there to us, and we didn't even know about beforehand, and just kind of talking Islanders, Grumpy. And you had there with Rich, you went to the same exact area, I think the same school.
Same high school. He graduated 5 years after I did.
Incredibly small world.
Yep.
Incredibly small world. And just getting to speak with them and kind of talking a little bit about what makes them Islander fans, what they enjoy about the show. I mean, like, we should have asked Delaney. We have a female listener, ladies and gentlemen. The very few we should have asked, how do we're working on that demographic, Delaney. We need to know what we need to do to more appeal to the female listeners.
Yeah, she was just the cutest little thing. I'm just telling you.
I-
So Um,
Yes, and
and
I look and the comments that I was getting after this photo, I'm like, that is apropos. I look like an ogre. I'm looking at how big I am, and I'm like, yeah, I'm looking like somebody who's like grumpy old man looks normal size, and there I'm like, holy shit, I'm looking like a damn
yeah, it was wonderful meeting them, honestly, and, Rich is the dad, and Jimmy's the son, and, Delaney's the daughter, and, it was so nice. It was like I said, everyone that we met was just so wonderful and so nice to us. We really appreciate that.
and getting to meet the people who listen and have that connection with us, it is special. I could not tell you how much I thoroughly enjoyed this weekend and getting to meet people who listen to the show, getting to meet people who like talking Islanders, who love the Islanders too. It was special. I mean, it was a very enjoyable week. I would say, Grumpy, and I don't want to. I'm not speaking out of turn for you. It was a very enjoyable weekend for all of us.
Yeah, without a doubt. And there were a lot of Islander fans there, not an overwhelming number, but I'm telling you, Dallas is a great crowd. They really are. I mean, I tried to get them riled up a little bit because, Matty B scored the first goal of the game. And I was, hey. And then Dallas scored and they're like jumping around, crazy stuff. I'm like, oh, that's got to stop. So when Matt Barzell scored, I had to let them know that I'm an Islander fan. So I stood up, everybody was quiet, and I'm like, "Yeah, Matty B." And somebody said, "You're in Dallas." I said, "I don't know where I am." I said, "I'm just having fun."
One thing I loved about the Islander fans we met in Dallas too. Grumpy, you look at the jersey and this one right here. You have to love the affinity, by the way, for the fishermen. I'd even point that out for the fishermen. We saw a lot of fisherman jerseys, and this is not that new stupid retro-y jersey. A lot of the fisherman jerseys, good fisherman jerseys too, we saw out there, and you got to love that. You got to love that. I don't have, obviously, you can see the fisherman. Grumpy, you got a little bit of a flack for having no Islander gear on. As you can notice, no Islander shirt, no Islander hat. Grumpy old man just looks like a normal dude who doesn't have any affiliation with any team. I think that Grumpy looks a little bit like a Ranger fan right here.
Okay, as I've always said in the past, I don't wear jerseys to other people's buildings. You're only asking for trouble.
I didn't
And
get any trouble, Grumpy.
yeah, but when you're kind of obnoxious like I am, rooting for my team in the other building, I mean, some of those here's the thing, I got a lot of people laughing at me, having a good time. There was some people, once you get a little alcohol in you, they were I could tell they were getting a little fed up, but for the most part, a lot of people were enjoying my antics in the stands.
Some were not. So those fan fight videos we do on the TJ and the Grumpy old man? Grumpy was egging on. I said, Grumpy's about to be in a fan fight. I'll make sure I film it. I'll make sure I film in landscape mode and
And
not
you gotta
portrait.
film it in landscape. As everyone knows who listens to TJ and Grumpy Old Man show, it's a crime when you film those fan fights in portrait mode. It's just sorry, you can't do it. I mean, especially because we're gonna do a breakdown, so we wanna see everything that's going on around you.
Exactly. I don't need to see what's going on in the top row.
Or the roof.
No, I don't need to see what's going on in the damn third row. But the arena was really nice. American Airlines Center, really, really nice arena. We haven't been to UBS Arena yet. We are going to try to make it there sometime to go to UBS Arena just to experience it. We were hearing from some of the fans who were at that Dallas game how beautiful it is and how nice it is. I'm like, okay, we've got to make our way to UBS Arena one of these days, Grumpy old man. So yeah, we really did enjoy it. Grumpy got to experience his first ever Buc-ee's trip. So that was good. He got to go to his first Buc-ee's gas station. He enjoyed that. Um,
It's a gas station with some tchotchkes in it.
no, it's more than that. It's
Uh,
more than that.
I felt like my cholesterol went up 500 points walking in the building.
Oh, stop.
Everything is fried. I mean, it's just I seriously, I was getting like a sugar headache just walking around in there. It's true.
It's great. It's great. I love Buc-ee's, and anytime I
We
see
went
one,
on our way down, and here's the thing, they don't have a whole lot of these because, I mean, they're big. They're really big.
remember I told you there's like 100 pumps almost. I would say it's pretty close, about 100 pumps. What, wouldn't you?
No, but there are a lot of pumps. Not 100 though.
Yeah, you're right.
But
Probably 200.
you have something like that, and you can't have it, like, on every street corner. So, I don't know if there's maybe 30 in the whole country, but they're big. I mean, without a doubt, they're big, and it was cute. Like I said, they sell merchandise. They got some little beaver there, Bucky the Beaver, and everything
Probably
is like
make
a
sure to get
lot.
himself a little picture with Bucky the Beaver too.
I didn't do that. I was
Uh,
sorry. I know I
oh.
took your picture with Bucky the Beaver, but no, I was not into that.
But no, we had a great time, and we made some great memories, and it was fantastic. We really did. We enjoyed ourselves, but enough about the personal life. We want to get back to talking a little New York Islanders, Grumpy. Um, so we talked a little bit about what we've seen over the last two games. Toronto team, I think, is played well as of recent. We assume, right? Sorokin's going to play against Toronto,
Yeah,
and with the way the schedule lies, I doubt they're going to go ahead and throw Sorokin back in on Wednesday because they'll play Monday. I doubt he'll play Wednesday
why not?
against the Oilers. So probably be Varlamov, and you'll get Sorokin against the Blue Jackets.
I I don't know. I mean, but Sorokin, he's a difference maker for us, right? I mean, and Varlamov was good last night. Varlamov was really good last night. Our goaltending is outstanding. No complaints at all with goaltending. I mean, defensively, I thought we were much more buttoned up yesterday. Romanov looked better. Um, Dobson looked a little bit better also. I think he's been struggling. Pulak and Pelech have some issues with speed. But Sebastian Aho looked really good, man. He's fire out there. He's
I
willing
liked
to
I
take
liked what I saw from Sebastian Aho last night.
for a little guy. He's going to take a couple of shots. There was a play where he took two big hits.
Knocked on his ass.
I mean, but he got the puck out. He made the play up. I mean, two guys just plastered him into the boards. And I mean, but he made the play. I mean, I like him. I thought the fourth line looked pretty good. I thought we played pretty good most all the night. But Matt Barzal was special last night. He was really, really good. If you don't stop him at the blue line when he's coming on a power play, he's going to score. And I mean, and that's what you saw that on one of the goals last night. He's just really, really good. And you really get an appreciation for him seeing him live and just some of the stuff he's able to do. Just other players just flat out aren't.
We look at who's been carrying the team, and it's a few select members. The Islanders have been a team for the most part over the last, 5 years or so. We've had to have consistent effort from every single player and consistent production from every single player in order to be successful. Bavilier looks like we're putting out missing in action signs for him. Anthony Bavilier, I think that
He played better last night though as well. He was better last night. I'm not saying he was great. I'm saying he was better last night.
okay. Better is subjective. I mean, like better than miserable. I just don't think he's right. What have we learned this year from Anthony Bavilier? People are like, no, wait, we could do this and that. Anthony Bavilier is a third line guy.
He's not indispensable. He's not
Correct.
indispensable. That's all.
He's a third line left winger. He's a third line streaky scorer at best. That's what he is. That's the role he fills. We talked about this all offseason long, right? Maybe he goes ahead and elevates his game a bit. This is a big, important year for him. Third line guy. I think that we could throw a rubber stamp of third line guy on his name. The same thing we could throw on Kyle Palmieri. I mean, like Palmieri I think he's been relatively invisible too. It's Bailey. Grumpy did get to see Bailey live in person again. Every single game we see, he always gets to see Josh Bailey.
He
He
had a
was
couple
healthy
of juice
scratch for two.
boxes along the boards during warm-ups just so he can keep himself hydrated. His mom wasn't there, but somebody else gave him the juice boxes. So, good for
Uh,
Josh. I'm
uh,
happy for him. I mean, I'm just so proud he tried to get in front of the net during warm-ups.
he
I mean,
did.
that's a positive step for him. Let's not sell him short.
Oh, good gracious! I mean, all kidding aside, though, because I want to bring it back to kind of what we saw.
But
It's
just to get back on Bailey, he was a healthy scratch the two previous games.
correct.
Uh, what does it say, right? Lane Lambert's not afraid to sit him when he's not producing. But
Fantastic.
yeah, but I mean, the whole thing is we're so limited. Is Ross Johnston the guy you want to play?
No,
I mean, Shushnikov was reassigned. So we're playing a man short up on the big team. I don't know what Lamoriello is doing.
And I want to say this too. Of course, what happens is after they go ahead and send Shushnikov down to Bridgeport, they waive him. They send him down to Bridgeport. They reassign him to Bridgeport. The Islanders make no move, no retroactive move. So they don't bring anybody up in place of Shushnikov. So they just have 22 guys in their organizational depth chart, I believe, right now at the NHL level. So, as Andy would so endearingly say, we got caught playing housewives, pontificating on what would happen, what the common sense move would. And again, I was obviously under the impression that Simon Holmstrom had already gotten called up last show. Well, did not receive the call up either. So we're just playing with 22 guys on the organizational roster.
It's
NHL
because
roster.
you listen to that freaking goof Phil. That's your biggest problem.
I know. Phil's facts.
Phil.
Grumpy.
Phil.
But yeah, so we're in a situation. Next few games are important, as every game is. We're 20 games into the season. We're 11. What are we? 11-8, or I'm sorry, we're 19 games into the season. We're 11-8 right now.
My concern is all the teams are bunched up. All the teams are bunched up, including some teams that I consider more talented than we are, who are trailing us, or they're tied, or 2 points behind, or 3 points behind. I mean, I think Washington is done and dusted, but Pittsburgh is starting to play better now. The Rangers are playing a little bit better now. Florida is going to be better. You see Tampa Bay move up, where they're accustomed to being Toronto. I still think you're going to see Detroit drop. But it's going to be tough for us to make the playoffs. It's going to be difficult. I mean, that's why it's so imperative that we win these next number of games. We have to get some points up because our schedule gets much tougher. I mean, I think we're playing Jersey and Boston within 3 days after this little easy stretch is over. I mean, the way those teams are playing, they might be cooled off
After
by
the
them.
easy stretch is over, we play Jersey, the Hurricanes, the Bruins, the Coyotes, Vegas Golden Knights, Avalanche, Rangers, Panthers, Penguins. That is
That's
a tough stretch of games, ladies and gentlemen. Again,
Yeah.
I'll read that over one more time. I just did a quick look. Devils, great team. Hurricanes, damn good team. Bruins, great team. Coyotes, yikes, but
They
we were
shut
shut
us
out.
out, though.
We were shut out by them last time. Vegas Golden Knights, really damn good team. Colorado Avalanche, really good team. Rangers, good team. Florida Panthers, good team. Penguins, I think, are a good team too.
And when we played Florida earlier in the year, when they were struggling,
We lost both games against them.
yeah, I mean, they're one of those teams that give us problems because they can skate. The Rangers, we've beaten them twice this year so far, right? Both times we beat
Yes,
them twice.
both times we beat them.
The next game is at Madison Square Garden. I mean, we always play them tough. So, I'm not saying we can't beat them. I think we have a good shot, but that's a game that we could potentially lose. Pittsburgh is getting better. Tristan Jarry has been horrible, but they're starting to play better now. I mean, we could go on a losing streak that would really put the postseason in jeopardy just before Christmas.
I think that what we can say, we talked about the preseason expectations, and now you could speak a little bit more accurately. About 19, 20 games in, you could kind of see a little bit about what teams have. This is, you start to get to where pretenders kind of start to weed themselves out around this time period.
Buffalo.
I will say at the beginning of the year, I thought that the Devils were going to be a team that would be fighting for fourth place, for a playoff spot against us, as well as maybe the Capitals. Well, Capitals, I think, have dug themselves in too large of a hole. They've played so many games already this year, and with the injuries they've got, I think the Capitals are dead to rights. I do not think the Capitals have any chance of making the postseason. It is a huge uphill climb for them. They might be having the easiest portion of their schedule later on in the year, but they're going to have so many points to make up. And I know they've got a lot of injuries currently on the team, but they're going to get healthier throughout the year. But I'm just afraid that for their sake, they're going to have too much to make up in too short of a time.
Yeah, the problem isn't necessarily the points they're behind; it's the number of teams they're going to have to leapfrog.
And I think for the equation too, nobody expected the Devils to be as good as they are. I thought they were going to be a team that was in playoff contention. I said, watch out for the dark horse team like the Devils fighting for their number 4 spot in our division, fighting for a wild card position. We could say with a strong degree of likelihood that, with the Devils record, they're 15-3. They've got 30 points right now at this point of the season. I don't expect them to continue to win every single game from here on out, of course. I would say that they are a team that have a large chance of making the playoffs, a high percentage of likelihood to make the playoffs. I'd say the same thing with the Carolina Hurricanes. I'd say the same thing with the Penguins as they're playing better now. The Hurricanes, there's a lot of tough teams in our division, and you look at that Atlantic division. It's not going to be a cakewalk for the Islanders just to stamp their way into a postseason position. They're an above-average team. I think is what we've learned so far this year. That it's going to come down towards the tail end of the year to determine whether we're making the postseason or not.
I still think 4 teams are going to come out of the East, out of the Metro. I still think 4 teams are coming out of the Metro. So, is it us and Pittsburgh or the Rangers or, I don't know. Like I said, I think Washington is done. Philadelphia is totally finished. Columbus is miserable. We're kind of
Columbus is the worst team in the conference, or tied for the worst team in the conference with the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah.
Their goal differential for the Columbus Blue Jackets is -25.
That's not good.
That is the worst. That is the second worst goal differential in the entire NHL. Only worse team, the Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, they suck too. I'm glad we got them 2 more times this year. I'm glad those should be easy wins. Even though we struggled to beat them last time and we didn't play very well, we still got the W. And that's all that really matters. Right? I know a lot of people said, hey, let's take a look, see where we are at 20 games. If we lose to Toronto tomorrow, we're like in 89?
11-9.
So we'd be looking like on an 89-point pace. Is that good enough to make the playoffs? I don't know. It's going to be I think we're going to be able to tell where the team is going to be at the end of the year before Christmas.
This is the best hockey we're going to be playing all season long. We're an 100% healthy team. Everybody on our roster is healthy, knocking on as much wood as possible. Our team is 100% healthy. Absolutely is. We should be playing our best hockey right now.
But look at the teams we have coming up after this easy stretch.
Tough teams. I know we went over tough teams.
They're tough. And if we go play 30% winning percentage, we could be out of the playoff hunt. That's how close all these teams are. It's whoever's going to play well to separate themselves. Right now, 2 teams have really separated themselves, and it's early, of course, but Boston and Jersey. And I think everyone can just say they're the 2 best teams in the league right now.
Those are 2 teams that I'd say are pretty much locks for the postseason. If you're the Devils, right, you're going to make additions at the trade deadline to help the team currently fortify the team. So are the Bruins. You look at, Marchand, you look at Bergeron, they're going to be doing that absolutely no matter where they are. They're going all in for this last little bit. We talk about a team with a closing window. The Bruins are fantastic. They're spectacular. They're a team I think that has a window that's closing. Absolutely. Same thing.
I'm just surprised at how well they're playing. As anyone who listens to the show knows, I'm a big Bruce Cassidy fan. And I was surprised they let him go, particularly when they let him go.
For Jim Montgomery.
For Jim Montgomery, who I was like, oh, man, Jim Montgomery. But he's done wonders for them. And sometimes you just need a fresh voice in the room. Let's be honest. Were you seeing comebacks like this from the Islanders when Barry Trotz was coach?
Never.
No. Now, I'm not pleased with how we're playing early in games, the Dallas game notwithstanding, but still, I just feel like we have that ability to come back. And yesterday, even though I thought Dallas was the better team, we were this close to tying it up with 4 minutes to go.
Yep. If Palmieri puts that one in the net, it's a completely different game, and we're in a spot where we get to, an overtime loss bare minimum. Remember how I said we were getting some lucky bounces going our way early on in the season? Palmieri not being able to put that in is you're like, holy crap, how do we miss that? Everything evens out. right? Everything does. I think that, Dallas is the better team yesterday. I will say regarding, criticism that could potentially be rearing its head regarding, Lane Lambert, right? I think he does some things really well. He allows players to play more instinctually, less structured, less rigid of a system. Um, the fact that we don't come out with jump in most games in the first and second period is concerning. That's a coach problem. That's a
Yes.
coach and player problem. So, point the fingers where you will, but that's something that would need to be sorted. Need to be sorted out sooner rather than later.
But that wasn't the case yesterday, though. That was
No,
not
that's
the
what I'm
case
saying. That's
yesterday.
not including yesterday's. But I'm saying, what would you say? 5 or 6 out of the last 10 games, we've come out flat as hell
Yeah.
to start the game, and it's required huge comebacks in the third period.
Yes.
That's what we did in Nashville again. We didn't do that yesterday, but we've done that more often than not over the last 10 games, right? So we remember how we always said there's going to be certain things that we're going to be able to notice immediately that Lane Lambert does better than Barry Trotz, and there are going to be things that he struggles with compared to Barry Trotz. That may be one of them. We don't know. He's not going to walk in and be a better coach in every single facet of his game than Barry Trotz. It's just not. It's just not logical to think that.
It's funny, though. One thing I noticed when Dallas finally took the lead yesterday and we were pressing, our lack of talent was evident in the forward group because the D was really having to engage and we
Yeah.
give up multiple, odd man rushes coming back the other way.
Think about how many power play opportunities we had yesterday, too. That's something I want to mention. What do we have, like 5 or 6 power play opportunities?
I think 5.
I
That's
thought
a
we had
lot.
5 in the second period.
That's a lot.
I think it was 4 or 5 in the second period, and the period was still equal. And we had so much time on the power play, and we had another power play opportunity in the third. There was a time period where Lane Lambert threw out a line on the power play of Josh Bailey, Zach Parise, Casey Zizekas, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, and I think Ryan Pulak. I was just kind of stupefied at the lineup choice he had there. It was like with 45 seconds remaining on the power play. I was like, what the hell are we doing?
We couldn't get out of our zone with the man advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I was impressed with Dallas. I hadn't watched any of their games this year. I know they were Stanley Cup finalists, 2-3 years ago,
Yeah.
but they've kind of taken a step back with Rick Bowness as coach.
Heiskanen's great, by the way, too.
Yeah, for me, I was really impressed with them and the job Peter. I'm not a big fan of Peter DeBoer, maybe just because he coached the Devils. So, so I'm not a big fan of his, but he's done a wonderful job with them. Wonderful. I thought we were going to win last night. I don't know why. I just thought we were going to win last night, and it was one of those games. And maybe we're starting to see, okay, we can do that comeback thing against lesser talented teams. When we play teams that are, have a good, at least equal to our talent level and maybe more, that could be a problem going forward.
As soon as you don't score on the opportunity that you have, the other team will come back and make you pay. when you've got 2 defensemen below the dot and the offensive zone, you're going to give up a goal coming the other direction in all likelihood.
I mean, for me,
and maybe if that's a home game, that's a different result. We've played a lot of home games early on this season too.
I think it's been about 50-50 for the most part.
Okay.
But for me, the goaltending we've had has just been sensational. And if our goaltending was not good as it's been, we'd be a sub 500 team.
I agree with that.
I mean, that's a concern. And I mentioned it. I said, our goaltending, our numbers might be not as good as last year, and we could be playing better as our goaltending can be better just with the high danger chances that we're facing. I mean, I think Sorokin's been great all year, and Varlamov too. As everyone knows, I'm hey, let's sell Varlamov guy. Still am. Okay. But he's been really, really good. Really good. I mean, he won us the Ottawa game, and he was really, really good last night. He made some big time saves. Big time saves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I do want to go ahead and get in today's ad read, Grumpy Old Man, and then we're going to start getting through some of these comments. We wanted to make sure that we had a chance to talk a little bit about the fantastic people we met, the good friends and friendships we made with people who listen to the show, and Islander fans we had met in Dallas, Texas. Of course, we wanted to make sure we had the adequate time to do so, and also to make sure that because we got Greg Prado coming on next Wednesday, Grumpy.
I just wanted to let D-Cut know that Matt Barzell has scored goals. I knew he was going to last night. I just knew it. I had a feeling. I thought he was going to get a hat trick. I really did. And that he's our leading scorer now. So I just wanted him to know that. I know he's not the biggest Matt Barzal fan, but he's our leading scorer, more than a point a game. Just saying.
Matt Barzal's our best skater.
Without a doubt.
Not even close for second. Right? True. I think Matt Barzal, best skater. Second best skater on the ice, the future $10 million man, Grumpy. The future $10 million man, Noah Dobson. Gotta love him.
Not happening. Not happening.
It is happening. It is happening. You remember here first. Who is the guy who's been saying it?
Yeah,
4 years before that contract comes. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Okay.
But anyway, we do have an ad to read today from DraftKings. Hockey fans light the lamp this winter with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. New customers can bet just $5 pre-game money line on any NHL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. If that wasn't enough excitement, you can turn small bets into even bigger payouts with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets like which team will win, how many goals will be scored, and, for your shot, an even bigger payout, Grump. So you could have gone ahead and said, I think Matt Barzal is going to score not only his first goal, but his first 2 goals, and that the Islanders are going to lose. You could have made a huge payout, Grump. You had a huge payout.
Let me
download the draft. Was that?
Can I do a parlay where I say that Russell Wilson is the shittiest quarterback in the NFL? Can I do that?
Sure.
Can I team it up with the hockey? Can I team it up with the hockey? And then the shit show that is Russell Wilson. Can I do that?
I'm not sure you can do that, Grumpy. But I do know you have him in your fantasy team, your little fantasy football team. But download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN and bet $5 on any NHL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code again THPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes in the description for additional details.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Grumpy. What happened? Is your boy throwing interceptions? Is Russell Wilson not playing
honestly, well? I've never seen a quarterback just fall off the planet like this guy has. And I went into the season, I'm like, okay, Russell Wilson, I bought into the hype. I did. I mean, he's looking great with Cortland Sutton. I'm like, all right, I'm going to double team these guys. And what a mistake. I mean, what a mistake. The only reason I still have him on my team is because I got a guy who's on a bye and somebody else I want to pick up that's not playing yet. And it's like, I have to play him. And what a mistake. He's terrible. I'm sorry. He's done. Denver, what a mistake. Seattle is going to be able to rebuild their franchise just by dealing that guy.
It's they came out, they fleeced the Denver Broncos.
I'm going to tell you what. I know the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show, which we could potentially be doing later tonight. I talked with some people that we met yesterday and said, what about the Jets in New England? I said, the Jets will lose because the Jets will do Jets things. And they did again today.
What are you talking about? What did the Jets do to lose today, Grumpy?
Robert, it all started. They had the ball with 2 timeouts, 1:05 on the clock. They get bailed out by a holding penalty, so they don't have to kick the ball back to New England. And 2nd and 2, they're not even trying. I realize they're throwing into the wind, but are you trying to win the game or not? They run the ball into the line. Then they let 28 seconds run off the clock before they call a timeout. Then they have an ill-fated little screen pass to the outside, which is covered by 2 guys. So with 14 seconds to go, they're punting the ball. What's the only thing you can't do? Only thing. You have the ball at like your own 40. What should you do? I don't know. If I'm not giving to the return guy because the only thing that can fricking beat you in a 3-3 game is a punt return for a touchdown. The guy outkicks his coverage. As soon as he got past the first level, and then he made a cutback, I said, that's it. And he was at the 50. I'm like, he's scoring. And there were a couple of blocks at the back that were not called, but it's just the Jets. And then you look at Robert Saleh, and he has that defeated look on his face again, which we saw earlier in the year.
Yep.
And it's just frustrating. I mean, the Jets do Jets things to lose. They're still 6-4 in the playoff hunt, but it's
They're
just
now
typical
last in the
Jets.
division.
They should have beaten. They had count them, 2 yards of total offense in the second half. 2 freaking yards. 2 yards. 2 yards. The whole second half. They punted the ball 10 times today. 10. How do you punt the ball 10 times ever?
Your kicker got a lot of work. He earned his paycheck that game.
He's going to need a hip replacement.
Oh, goodness. Drew L said, well, hi, guys. I didn't expect to have an emergency podcast today. Anyway, no, not an emergency podcast, but just getting out there, making sure we could speak a little bit about the great time we had and the great people we met. Anyways, that Stars loss, I think, shows what our team is, a mediocre to slightly above average team with glaring holes. I think that, right? I think if we lose to Toronto, I've always stated this, I think we're a slightly above average team. A loss to Toronto in regulation makes us 11-9 on the season. 20 games in, a slightly above average team.
I think that assessment from Drew is fair. I think it's fair. And I always said it's, going into the season with the same cast of characters, the way to get more offense is you're going to have to sacrifice some defense.
Yep.
And I think we've shown tremendous resilience this year, just tremendous, coming back from 2-goal deficits. How many times? I just feel like if the game is close in the third period, particularly against the weaker teams, we're going to beat them.
Yes.
We just are. Our goaltending is just too good. Like I said, Ottinger was really good last night. There was a couple of saves he made. Them like, maybe some of these other weaky goalies would not have been able to do that we played recently. But he came up big in big moments. That's what your goalie needs to do. That's what our guys have been doing all year. I don't think we've had a crappy performance in goal from anyone all year long, to be honest with you. I think our goaltending has been sensational this year.
That's a fair point. I don't think we've had one game where we're like, crap, we lost that game because Varlamov or because Sorokin led in a lot of weakies. We haven't had a game like that yet. I just think we are going to have a game like that. You're not going to be like every night where your goaltending is fantastic and spectacular. I just think it's unsustainable to have that every night in, night out.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. You're going to lay an egg every once in a while.
Yeah.
Okay. But I can't say that I haven't seen one this year. We've maybe had a goal here, a goal there that, okay, we want to do better. But we've made so many big saves in big situations. I mean, Sorokin just been sensational. The thing about the Nashville game, it was 2-0 Nashville, and they come in with the breakaway, and Sorokin stops them. Pellet comes right down, gets a deflection for the goal, 2-1, or maybe that was 1-1. Maybe that made I can't remember the chain of events. Long story short, Sorokin made a huge save when it might have been 3-0. It might have been 3-0, and he winds up saving and I remember saying to the TV screen, I'm like, if we win the game, that's the save that did it.
Yeah.
And that's coming up with the big saves at the big moments, and they've been doing it all years. Once again, Varlamov was sensational last night. He made a lot of big saves, and against Ottawa. Without him playing against Ottawa, we lose to Ottawa.
I'd agree with that.
We get beat by Ottawa. That's concerning, but the fact that our goaltending is so good gives us a little bit of leeway.
I want to show you this. Drew L sent us a meme here, Grumpy. And, is it true that Josh Bailey knows who you are, Grumpy, and that when he saw you in the stands, he kind of got terrified? Because I think Drew accurately depicted kind of what Josh Bailey looked like when he did see you in the stands, Grumpy.
He did look a little shaky.
Just like a hamster that's the guy who makes fun of me all the time. That's the guy who would throw a parade if I were to pass, per some individuals.
let's give credit to Josh. He had made some nice passes yesterday.
Yes, he
His
is. It's the one thing that he does unbelievably well is he's a great distributor of the puck. He's a great passer. We did have that 2-on-1 opportunity with Bavillier, and just
Now, we met a former player in the league yesterday. I'm not
yes,
going to mention his name, but we met a former player in the league, and he didn't even know who Josh Bailey was.
played in the league for many years
Yeah,
on many teams.
he didn't even know who he was. And I thought, I mean, he was in the league when Josh was playing. He
Correct?
didn't even know who he was.
He said, "Who?" I said, "Yeah, Josh Bailey. He's played 1,000 games in the NHL." And he said, "Who is this? Who is this guy?" Had no freaking idea who Josh Bailey was. None at all.
True. I think most people around the league don't know who Josh Bailey is.
None. I was kind of shocked by that. I was like, yeah, Josh Bailey, the guy who's been in the league for like I feel like 15 years.
And you know what it reminded me of? When, Barry Trotz said that, "Yeah, I really didn't think too much of Bailey until I started coaching him, and then I
I
saw how
really didn't
smart he was."
notice him too much
Yeah.
in games, and I really didn't know too much about his game until I became his coach, and then I was able to realize how smart he was.
Yes.
But I did find that kind of funny. Did know who
Yes.
Josh was. Oh, good gracious, Grumpy. Um, and Druell said mainly on defense now, since we traded that for a bunch of since we traded that for scoring a bunch of goals.
And the
Um,
fact that our defense is not fleet of foot is what's giving us some problems.
I think, we talk about Bavillier. He had a few opportunities early against that. I thought early before Dallas got on that power play, we were the dominant team. Bavillier had that chance coming one-on-one with the goalie. Doesn't really register a fantastic shot and opportunity as he continues to skate just kind of towards towards the end line. He doesn't actually. He just cuts his angle off and allows it for an easy save by Ottinger. And then you're in a situation where that Bailey pass comes to him, and his shot opportunity doesn't really get a fantastic registered chance against net, despite having a point blank opportunity. Again, it just is the reason why Bavillier is a third line guy,
Yeah.
streaky third line scorer. He's a guy with energy that can drive a line occasionally, but wildly inconsistent at best.
I just my determination with him is he's not somebody I'm worried about keeping. I know he's a younger player, but if moving him makes the team better in the long run, I'm all for it. Now, I'm not saying I want to give him up to bring in some 35-year-old. That I'm not for at all. But if you can make him an auxiliary piece to get yourself a young player with some growth potential who can be with the team for a long time, I'm not I don't have a problem with
Opposed.
moving him.
Not opposed to doing that. Absolutely, Grumpy. Got a comment here from Joseph C saying, "I hope the game last night didn't put a complete damper on the Dallas trip." No, it was fantastic. Even we could have lost that game 10-0. Obviously, that would have been very disappointing. But we could have lost that game 10-0. The people that we met and the time that
Yep.
we spent with those people, I could have lost. We could have lost 10-0. I still would have had a great trip to Dallas, just meeting everybody, and that would have been fantastic. Are you guys on location? Is TJ is still late? Good to know that a lateness follows him to different time zones. So I
Here's the
like that,
thing.
Joseph.
I was ready for quite a while before TJ, blessed me with his presence. I mean, I was ready. I'm in a strange house, so it's not like I'm comfortable doing certain things there yet. So, but TJ, I still able to beat him in every single thing I do.
Hold on. What do you not feel comfortable doing yet?
Well, using a new shower or doing this. Here's the thing.
I
I
showed you
put
how to use the shower before.
Okay, no, here's the thing. It's not here's the thing. You know how like, hey, you go take a shower in your house. Hey, but you kind of know where everything is. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I emptied out my bag. I got, everything, packed away so I can have it for my trip. TJ shit still laying all over the floor over here. I can't wait till his wife comes home and busts him for that. This is going to happen. I'm just telling you.
Oh, good gracious.
I mean, it's trash. It's everywhere. Bags, this, that. coat laying all over. Dude, put your stuff away.
Oh, good grief.
Shoes laying all over the place.
Oh,
And
man.
his shoes are big too.
Jeez.
Stupid shoes.
Drew said, one day, TJ and Grump, I hope to see you guys in person. Absolutely, Drew. I know we're definitely going to make it to one game and at UBS, not this year, next year. We're going to try to make it to one game at least. Tony Cheese showing up. Tony Cheese, what's up? Matthew S., what's going on, my friend? Punibus Curtis says, yo, Tony Queso, you've been slacking on the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man Clips channel. He has been slacking, but I understand. He keeps busy. Punibus Curtis also says, do it right or don't do it at all, or give up the account, let somebody else do it who can. Oh, damn, Pony Boy.
Wow.
Curtis. I tell you. Frank says, hi, why are you guys on so early? Yeah, we just wanted to make sure we could cover a little bit of Islanders, talk a little bit about the great people we met and the experience we had there. And Grumpy did when we were leaving this morning. Grumpy forgot his damn phone in the room. I'm just happy we didn't get driving down the road and he forgot it. The older Grumpy gets, the more forgetful he gets.
Okay. It's not like knowing someone had to notify him, like, oh, I left my phone in the room. This was the thing. TJ wanted to get on the road 7 o'clock today. He had his alarm going. I don't know. He uses like his phone alarm. And here's the thing. If my phone alarm goes off, and I don't know how the phone alarm works when it goes on for an hour or like 30 minutes. I don't know. I don't know if it changes from one sound to another sound to another sound to another sound. But, because when I hear the alarm, okay, bing, I get up. I either put it on silent or I shut it off or, whatever. He told me he wanted to leave at 7 o'clock today. Okay. He sets his at 7. I'm like, there's no way he's going to be ready at 7. Absolutely no freaking way. I said, I'll set mine at 10 after 7. 7 o'clock, I hear TJ's alarm going. And the sounds are changing. So someone needs to let me know if you sleep through half an hour of alarms and the thing never shut off, never shut down. He didn't even, I swear, I'm afraid that if there's like a fire in his house or smoke, he ain't making it out.
Dude, you want to know the funny thing? Speaking about that, first I'll answer your first question. I have a whole bunch of different alarm sets, so they're all different sounds. All different sounds go on and off all the time, Grumpy. You mentioned about the fire. There was last week when the lovely Pages family was in, the fire alarm went off, and they came out like, "Is there a fire?" I said, "No, I think we're good," and I just rolled back over and just continued sleeping. But the fire alarm did go off, and I was just like, I think we're good. So
I think we're good.
Yeah. So
here's another thing TJ likes to do when he drives. He doesn't want to let anybody in.
Oh, okay. We're moving on. Stop. You're ridiculous. It's like I got a backseat driver over
He
the
thinks
entire
the
time, complaining, bitching, and moaning. He's the passenger princess. He just sat there in the passenger side and slept. I'm happy he did. When he was sleeping, I didn't have to hear him bitching about anything. Ugh.
I passed out due to fear. That's what happened.
He passed out due to fear. He woke up and said, TJ, I didn't get more than 2 hours of sleep. I said, why? And he's like, I was worried we had to get on the road this morning. I was like, fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, when I know there's something I have to do like really early the next day, I usually don't sleep well the night before. Because here's the thing. You want to know why? Because when I say I'm going to do something at a certain time, I do it. So guess what time we wound up leaving? 8.
Oh.
So 7 o'clock TJ time is 8 o'clock.
Matthew S. says, angry about Thursday result and somewhat about last night. You guys are a jinx.
I don't
get really that. Went to one of those games.
I don't see how we're a jinx, to be honest with you. All right.
Matty Barzal had the best game of his damn year with multiple goals. Fantastic, Matt Barzal.
Yeah. We were not at Thursday's game. Okay. So, Matthew, I think that's being a little disingenuous saying that we're a jinx.
I will say this. Speaking about Islanders Hall of Fame, Matt Barzal has a more just claim for the Islanders Hall of Fame than Josh Bailey does.
Absolutely. Mick Vukota has a bigger claim to be in the Islanders Hall of Fame than Josh Bailey. He's the absolute epitome of Josh Bailey's the absolute epitome of the participation trophy award.
gosh.
I mean, I don't know if they. Here's the thing: if they retire Josh Bailey's number, I don't know if there's a new numbering system that they're going to put on people's uniforms. Because if you're retiring Josh Bailey's number, everybody's number gets retired.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that, Grumpy. But I want you to read this, Grumpy. Frank Hayes got a comment.
Hey, that's Frank's looking good there. Reality has struck this team. They're not a good team. Romanoff is trash, always out of position. Great job by Geezer Man giving up a pick for him. That's Lou Lamoriello for the uninitiated. I don't see us as a playoff team like I predicted. Okay, let me just tackle that a little bit. I think we're a good team. I don't think we're not certainly not a Stanley Cup team. We can make the playoffs. Romanov played better positionally yesterday than he has. It's been an issue for him. Lou Lamoriello, probably right now, it looks like that's a first-round pick is an overpay for him.
Especially the 13th overall selection.
He's only 22, though. So he's going to get I'm going to give him a little bit more time. I still think we can make the playoffs. This next stretch of games through that little tough stretch just before Christmas, that's going to tell you a lot.
I think we're a team that could still make the playoffs. I still think that we're a slightly above average team. I'll stick with that. I'll stick with that. That prediction I had at the beginning of the year, slightly above average team that may be on the outside looking in, maybe fighting for a last playoff spot. And that's where we are right now. We're 7th in the conference. It's early yet, though. And, these are games we have really got to take advantage of. And
yes.
What have I always said? When our team was, the records, whoa, I had certain people tweeting at me, whoa, we're great. Look at the record since this silly post. You're never as good as you think. You're also never as bad as you think. We're always somewhere in the middle throughout the highs and lows. We got a comment here. Frank Hay said they may lose the next two also against Toronto and Edmonton.
I think we're probably going to split those two. I mean, we could lose two. I just think our goaltending is a difference in those games. I mean, I don't think that Toronto's goaltending is very good. They're playing better. I think we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle with their offense. They can skate, and the fact that we were always able to handle them pretty well when Trotz was coach because we played the button-up defense style. We're not doing that.
We would frustrate Toronto and then counter-strike.
Yes, but we don't play that style anymore. We're trying to generate more offense, which is leaving our defense vulnerable, and I think Sorokin's going to have to be really, really good tomorrow night for us to beat Toronto. And Edmonton, they play no defense. I think that's a game we can win. But again, their transition game is mighty good.
They're a very fast team also.
Right. The teams that have the team speed is what gives us the most trouble. Carolina, first game of the year notwithstanding, Florida, Tampa, Rangers, even though we beat them twice. Those are teams that just give us problems.
There is an interesting theory that we were introduced by a member, and we're not going to say anything about it yet because we're tracking this theory, but I think there may be some validity behind it, and it's something that we're going to be tracking very heavily. We've got our eyes on those who mentioned it to us, that we are going to keep our eyes peeled for this theory, and I think they may be right on it, though.
All I'm going to say is that if this theory is correct, Mike Milbury should get his job back. That's all I'm saying.
Wow. Okay. This theory, yep, it's a big one. It's a big theory, and I never thought of it. It's one of those type of theories. We're not going to mention it yet, just because we want to vet it. We want to see it for ourselves too before we start spouting it out, and we're going to give that person the absolute props and the credit that they deserve. But it's one of those theories that the first time you hear it, it's almost like mind blowing because you're like, well, I hadn't even thought. That thought had never passed my lexicon of thought before. I was like, whoa. This may be a completely different idea that's completely, something I never would have imagined in my wildest dreams. But Matthew S. said, we are Nashville's bitch.
I just don't think Nashville's really good. I think we'll beat them when we play them next time.
I agree. I mean, Soros is not playing the same way he did last year.
No.
Not playing like a Vezina candidate the same way. Neither is Roman Josi.
I mean, I know we gave up 5 goals, but Sorokin was really good in that game.
If he was in the net, we would have given up more goals.
Yeah.
Got a comment here, Grumpy, from Drew L.
I will say in that first quarter, it was a night and day difference with Broncos country. P.S. Nathaniel Hackjob is not calling plays this game. Okay, they have 16 points. 16 points. Not good enough. In the money league, this piece of crap, Russell Wilson and I don't even who's the guy who's the new coordinator? It looks like he's about 14 years old, but he's got a last name that somebody's in the league. So I mean, that's how you want to get a job. You got to know somebody in the NFL.
A comment here from Joseph C saying the Devils might not ever lose again.
I predict they will lose before the season's out.
Nick C said, I hope you guys enjoyed the game last night. I felt like we put more of a full 60-minute game yesterday than the past few. Absolutely.
And I'm going to question, Matthew was calling us a jinx. I mean, we played a full game for the most part yesterday. I think it had something to do with us.
I think we played,
actually me, not TJ.
I think we did play close to a full 60 minutes. The first time we've done that in a while. Yeah. I think against Carolina, we did that. Not a full 60 minutes, but pretty dang close. And, it's much better than what we've seen as of recent. So it was good to see. Even though we lost yesterday, I think it was a more complete game and a more completed effort than the times where we've been winning games by late game heroics. So I'd rather see a loss like that where I'm like, okay, I could see good. It's a harbinger, hopefully, for better things on the near horizon. Matthew S. said Dallas is really good, but we needed at least a point last night. I wouldn't have been as annoyed if last night's result, if we actually played a full game on Thursday.
Yeah. But you know what? Maybe, just maybe, they needed that. Okay, we lost to Nashville. We didn't play a full game. They came out and they responded in Dallas. Maybe that'll be what's happening from here on out. If it is, I feel good about us. We haven't seen it this year. That's all.
Frank K said the record wasn't indicative of how bad this team is. Goaltending protected them. Absolutely. We agree on that.
Yeah. I mean,
goaltending removed, we're a team that would have a much worse record, but we do have that goaltending. You know what I mean? So
I don't want to say we're bad, but I don't think we're as good as some people think we are.
If we didn't have, are you talking about if we didn't have fantastic goaltending?
Yeah, and I'm talking about
we'd be a below average team.
Yeah, I'm talking about the general manager. He seems to think that, well, no, this team is good.
We have again a Vezina caliber goalie.
Yeah,
and we have 2 goalies that could win the Jennings this year. I really do firmly believe that between Varlamov and Sorokin, I think we could win the Jennings.
I don't think we're going to give up the least amount of goals this year in the league.
I mean, for the tandem,
I don't.
You have to play a certain amount of games in order to even qualify for that, though.
Well, it's the lowest goals against for a team.
That's for a goalie tandem.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. It's the team goal. No.
So, like, for example,
but here's the thing: if Sorokin played 79 games and Varlamov played 3, the Islanders would still get the Jennings Trophy, but Varlamov's name wouldn't be on it because he didn't qualify. That's not even going to be the case. Certainly, they're going to play enough games between the 2 of them. I just don't think we're going to give up the least amount of goals in the league. That's all. I mean, think about it. I mean, look at some of the other teams in the league. I mean, I'm not saying our goaltending has been really, really good, but it's not like, I mean, Boston's only given up 37 goals in 18 games this year.
So, for example, Grumpy, that's just not correct. Oh, no, it is. I'm sorry. I completely skipped over them. That's right. I guess the Carolina Hurricanes between Ranta and Anderson last year had less goals than maybe the Rangers did, because I was just thinking about how great Shesterkin is. I forgot how bad Georgiev was last year for them.
It's a team. It's a team goal. And unless you play a certain number of games, both goalies would not be on it as, hey, this is the guy. But, that's not going to be the case for us. It's the team that gives up the least amount of goals. I mean, we're not even close to that. We're not even close. And I think our goaltending has been fantastic. But, I mean...
Yeah, the Bruins have only surrendered 37 goals so far this year.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. The Bruins have surrendered the least amount of goals in the NHL.
Yes.
So, and the Winnipeg Jets at 38 goals, surrender, but they've only played 16 games.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
worth
Do you think honestly, do you think that they're gonna give up, 15 goals in 3 games? Probably not.
probably not.
Yeah.
Um, the BK Italian kid says, "Hey guys, great to see you. Went to the Bruins Blackhawks game last night, and the Bruins looked dominant. A stark difference from the Islanders play.
And that's the thing. When you play good teams, how are we gonna look? Because you
I
can't
agree.
come out and play 1 period against really good teams. Can't do it.
And about say if you only play one game against a really good team, in all likelihood you're going to lose." Matthew S said, "We were poor on coverage in front of our own net and god awful on faceoffs."
I thought there was only one time, and it didn't cost us, where and was on a power play where all 4 guys they had 2 guys in front of Varlamov, and all of our guys were kinda in front of the dot. The thing that makes Dallas so tough is they have multiple forwards who go to the front of the net.
Yes, they get traffic in front of the net, and it's tough for Varlamov to see. You saw Varley, even though I think he played well last night, slinking a little bit into his own net because just so much traffic in front. And that's when Varlamov usually struggles, is when he has to play retreated in his own net.
You can always tell when he's struggling or when he's not confident is when he's inside the net, always.
John Smith said,
That's his tell.
John Smith has a good question. How many effing Baileys did you drop, Grump? I let a few out.
I don't think I said anything. I'm like, Bailey. I think I just said Bailey. I did not drop any F bombs in the crowd. Absolutely did not.
Grumpy was just annoying all the other fans, all the Dallas fans around him.
But I wasn't. I was being funny. I was entertaining, and a lot of
I
people.
was worried when those guys were hammered drunk behind us. I'm like, Grump, you might want to relax a little bit,
Yeah,
because
they were.
here's the thing. You're not backing up any of this talk you're doing. That's my job. So I'm like, maybe you just want to relax.
Okay, no one was challenging me.
When you were chanting about the refs and they were belligerent. You could
Oh,
hear,
they
by the
were
way,
going.
they were belligerent behind us. I was like,
They
here's the
were
thing.
going.
You're sober. They're belligerent. Don't
They were
egg on a
going.
belligerent
No,
fan.
they were saying the refs suck. I'm like, good job, ref.
No, you were yelling, "Great job, ref!" You were yelling, and he said, "Ref, you suck!" And they're just belligerent. And I'm like, all I need you to do is get into a verbal confrontation with them because they're belligerent.
I wasn't addressing anyone.
You
First
wanted to
of all,
show up on the fan fight segment. It
I
almost seemed
wasn't
like yesterday,
addressing
Grumpy.
anyone. They were saying, refs, you suck. They were really, really loud. Then they'd shut up for a second. And I feel, well, I had to stick up for my team. And I just said, great job, ref.
You were so loud that half of the freaking arena probably could hear you yelling at he would stand up, "Yeah, ref, you rock," and all that. "Ref, you're great." And I'm just like, he's just egging everybody on. And I'm like, there are belligerent fans around us. Listen to the way they're speaking. I know you're trying to make enemies out of the enemies around it, just like as a fun banter. But I'm like, all you need to do is piss off the wrong hammered guy who doesn't understand you're joking around.
Did you see how many people were smiling?
Okay, a lot of people. All it takes is that one belligerent punk just to flip a shit.
No, they would have protected me. Those Dallas fans.
They would no. It would have been me who was
They were
called
my
to your
friends.
defense
They were my
with your
friends.
torn rotator cuff as you sit there like, as you said, all sad and pathetic. And we were at the bottom, Grumpy. For the fan fights, we would have been fighting from a disadvantage. We would have been fighting from the low ground. Grumpy.
I'm just saying there was no risk of getting into a fight.
The fan fight possibility was about a 99.99% probability with the way Grumpy was acting last night.
Let me tell you something. I was sticking up for my team. That's all I was doing. If the referees made a bad call, oh my God. I mean, it wasn't bad. It just
what happened to the game as
I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not even going to tell you.
What are you doing? Because you're watching, you're glued to the game over
Nothing.
there.
I'm not watching anything. I'm doing the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't think that there was any risk of there being a fan fight. Like I said, most everyone, I want to say 99% were absolutely, the only people who were a little bit afraid were the Islanders fans. But, here's the thing. They were so boisterous. I just counted what they said. It's like when I used to go to wrestling matches with you guys, I'd always root for the bad guys. And I'd love to be with a group of little kids because they all love the fan favorites. I'm like, and I'd always root for the bad guys, and you wait until it gets crowd and then you say something, and it's always funny. It's the delivery, and my delivery was humorous as usual.
Yeah, poor adrenaline control from Grumpy. And you weren't around kids, you were around drunk adults. I'm just happy. Here's the thing. If you do that in Philly, you're getting batteries chucked at your head and you're leaving with welts and you may be leaving in a body bag, Grumpy. So I'm glad that the Dallas fans were much more receptive and nice fans. They're nicer
You got to
people,
know
I
your
guess, down there.
audience. You got to know your audience. It's something you should learn. Know your audience.
Mm-mm-mm. Alexander, we met there. He said, "Hey guys, how you both doing? Great to meet you guys last night. You too, Alexander. Absolutely
It was a
was."
pleasure. It really
Frank
was.
said, "The Devils and Bruins are crazy good."
They are.
D-Cut says, "We're going to lose the next two."
That's that positivity. Thank you, D-Cut. And D-Cut, by the way, is part of Isles Misery Rated R.
Who are they, Grumpy?
That fantastic Facebook fan group, realists like ourselves. So we appreciate it.
Grump, I'm going to use the restroom. You keep on reading.
My God. Unbelievable. Like I said, unbelievable. Drew L says, one question. Why doesn't Lane put Wallstrom at left wing on the power play? That's where he was his best last year. Yes, we were questioning that last night too. And he had the assist on Barzal's first goal. And I thought he looked shaky early on, but after that, he picked it up. Without a doubt, he picked it up. And he was really effective. That's the best I've ever seen him play for an extended period of time. And if he plays like that, that's a harbinger of good things to come. So don't worry about that. Alexander says, "Oh my God, Josh Bailey's absolutely awful." Grump and TJ. Yeah, he is, but at least he pretended to get close to the crease in warmups, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Josh. Alexander then says, they came strong in the first period. That was a change, without a doubt. D-Cut says, great job on the back checking by Barzal. One of the worst efforts I ever saw on that shift that led to a goal. Showed zero heart on that play. I think you're being a little harsh, D-Cut. Alexander says, Grump and TJ, you guys are right. Pelech and Pulock need to be separated. I would like to see them separated. I'd like to see Dobson with Pelech and Pulock with Romanov. Even though I wasn't disappointed with how Dobson and Romanov played yesterday, I thought they were better. Deirdre C says, Ben was truly impressive last night. Islanders must take the next two. Yeah, he was really good. He was really good. I mean, just his stick work on that one goal that I don't think he was the primary. I think he was the secondary assist, but it was all him. He was really good. I didn't even realize it was him till they announced it. I'm like, man, that was phenomenal. He's a good player. Matthew S says he shouldn't have been out there that long. Okay, talking about Barzal, I'm sure of that. Jason C says, good evening, guys. Hello, Jason. Good to see you again. Matthew S says, TID. I don't know what TID stands for. It's
stands
one of those.
For take it deep.
Take it deep, Baldy. I don't know. He must be. I don't know what he's talking about.
They must be talking to D-Cut. Hold on. I got to talk about this. The back checking by Are you talking about the goal where Jamie Benn split our defense pairing of Pulock and Pelech and made them look like they were freaking bottom pairing guy? The top pairing defensive defenseman just freaking skated right through and made him look like minced meat. I remember that one too. We had 3-on-3 back there. Our forward, our center, didn't do as good of a job as our defenseman should have done. Our defenseman did a freaking piss poor job too. And when we saw that play live, I was like, that was beautiful. That was beautiful by Jamie Benn. And I looked at our defense and said, wow, I'm getting Doug Waite-esque vibes out here.
Doug Waite-esque. I like it.
Good evening, guys, says Jason C. Did you read that?
Already did that one. Did the next one, too.
Alexander said he's trying to overcome his fears, Josh Bailey.
Hey, that's all you can do. Work on yourself, Josh. Nothing wrong with that. I've identified a weakness in your game, and you're trying to do something. You know what they say, acknowledgement of a problem is the first step towards correcting it. I don't know. Maybe you'll be 50 before you'll go nowhere near a crease in the sidewalk because you won't be playing hockey anymore. But I am for you and behind you all the way. Go, Josh, go.
Nick C. Grumpy.
I feel like we play the chip and chase game just a little too much. Do you guys think we need to work on cleaner zone entries? We don't have one guy can do that. One
I
guy.
was about to say, we look at how many times when we were playing against Dallas yesterday, we allowed them to just have a clean and easy entrance over the blue line. We just conceded the blue line and said, "Here you go. You can have the blue line. Just easy entry into the zone." They didn't have to worry about dumping and chasing against us. They were just so fast. Our team, besides, I was about to say, one or maybe two guys, really have the ability to have easy zone entries. Every other time we have to chip and chase because otherwise we're going to get our pocket picked at the blue line because a lot of teams just don't allow that easy entry.
True.
And Matthew S. said Dobson had a few bad games.
Yeah, I I agree. I agree. I think he struggled a little bit. I think it's the fact that Romanov doesn't play positionally at all. He did last night, and I thought the pairing looked better. But that being said, I don't. He's had a couple of down games, and I think a lot of it has to do with Romanov.
Joel said Grumpy, I don't want to bag on Bailey. Proceeds to bag on Josh Bailey every Islander game.
He provokes me with his inferior play.
Is that what it is, huh?
I mean, I tried to be very positive about him today. I'm rooting for his success. So yeah,
D-Cut says Barzal lost 7 more faceoffs than he won.
I don't care.
I don't either.
It means nothing to me. Have Parisi take the
I
faceoffs.
was about to say, have Zach
Doesn't matter.
Parise take him. Or here you go. You know what? Bailey was have somebody if he's so miserable.
I don't see
at
Bailey
faceoffs,
anywhere near Barzell. He's like an infected wound, that Bailey.
oh gosh.
Like
But I
a
mean,
pocket.
okay, he loses faceoffs, right? Manny Malhotra won about freaking 70% of the faceoffs he took. Couldn't do a damn thing other than that besides kill penalties and play a role. He didn't make more than about $1.25 million a year as a bottom 6 guy for Vancouver. Back when that Vancouver team was winning President's trophies year after year. I mean, like, winning faceoffs doesn't get you paid.
And it also isn't something that wins you games for the most part.
It helps. I mean, you can't lose every single face-off when you have it in the offensive zone and give them easy possession.
Okay, I have a question. Who's our best faceoff guy? Casey Zizekas, right? Pretty much.
I think Jean-Gabriel Pageau.
Okay. I thought it was Casey, but we'll go with Pajot. That's fine. Matt Barzell has 10 more points than he does. I don't care that you win faceoffs. And Matt Barzell's a +2. I know it's not the be all end all, but he's +2.
Yeah.
JD Pajot -1. It could be because he's playing with, he was playing with
Palmieri.
Parise and Palmieri because they're like, when you're an F-, you're going to carry a minus with you. So
Last night he played with Palmieri and Josh Bailey. So maybe Jean-Gabriel Pageau is much better than we originally thought, that he's been saddled with those two.
they were out there for a lot of goals against yesterday, were they not?
Pellick and Pulak were out there for a lot of goals against too.
It
I
was
noticed that defensive pair was just getting absolutely just manhandled out there on the ice.
Yeah.
John Smith said it was a winnable game. Just need more skill up front. I agree.
And it's just, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. He's gutted the farm system. He keeps on giving rid. Oh my gosh, I can't even spit it out. He keeps on trading away draft picks, which means that you cannot get younger players who are going to go get better on the team. It's all Amarillo's fault, honestly. It just is.
Nick C said, "What's your prediction for?" By the way, really quickly before I read this comment, did you see? I can't remember who it was. Somebody asked him if essentially Lou Lamoriello feels vindicated after this start because there were so many. He faced so much backlash about.
That was Kurtz.
What the hell are you watching over there, Grumpy?
I'm not watching anything. That was Kurtz. I wanted to pull up the stats to see what the plus-minus was for Pelican Pulak yesterday.
Okay, I can get that for you if you just ask me next time. But we're in a situation, Grump, to where they asked, "Do you feel vindicated?" Almost that everybody was telling you need to make more moves, and you kept the same group together and off to a good start. I'm like, nothing like freaking pulling the trigger a little bit early. But Nick C says, "What's your prediction for Monday?" Sorokin should be a net, gives us a big goaltending advantage against Toronto.
I think Toronto's going to beat us.
I think it's close. I think maybe it's an overtime game. I think Sorokin is a big plus for us in net. I just think that we're starting to see that maybe we're not as good as what the record was early, but we're probably not as bad as a little streak we're going to go on here.
Sorokin needs to play really, really well. I
Yes.
don't say we can't beat them. I'm just saying that if Sorokin's not on the top of his game, we'll lose to them. I can't hear you, TJ.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have myself on mute. But yes, D-Cut says 6 fairly easy games after Edmonton. They need to pile up points. They absolutely do. We talked about that for certain.
I think it's only 4 relatively easy games after Edmonton,
I
isn't
think
it?
it's 6. No, we play Philly twice, Grumpy. We play the Blue Jackets, the Predators, the Blackhawks, and then we play the Blues.
Well, but the Blues are pretty good now, right?
I don't. They're an up and down team. I don't think the Blues are a force to be reckoned with per se. Drew L said, "Grumpy, I don't want to bag on Josh Bailey, but it says Grumpy says Bailey, you suck."
Well, that's just, that's his calling card. So,
Goon Grumpy.
it's official now. Belichick has a Jets voodoo doll. No, the Jets have their own voodoo doll, and they do it to themselves.
They
Always,
prick themselves. The Grumpy, they
always,
stab themselves.
always. The Jets do Jets things, period.
Matthew S says Dallas seems like a fun place. It was. It was a
Nice.
nice area.
Yep, absolutely.
Alexander Grumpy.
And what the hell was Pajot doing needed to come on the wraparound?
We didn't get the shot off. Do you remember that chance that Pajot had right in front of the net? He didn't shoot, and he waited to pass, and we didn't get a shot on net.
Yes,
Three on one and close.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I was about to say we had opportunities. We just we're allergic to shoot the puck? Question mark.
Sometimes you got to be selfish.
Grumpy. I'm gonna need your attention.
Sometimes you got to be selfish.
I'm gonna need your attention as we're finishing up the show. I'm gonna need you to stop paying attention to the TV. I need your attention. Goon Grumpy.
Sometimes you have to be selfish in regards to Pajot. Gunga says, why do the Islanders commit so many blunders on defense now? I was figuring this year was going to be all about defense and goaltending. Nope. They had to get better scoring, right? If you don't acquire anybody, you're going to have to alter your system. We talked about it in the offseason, and we said that could be the result, where maybe we're not as good defensively, but we'll be able to score more goals. And against bad teams, we're able to do it. Against good teams, not so much.
Drew L said, Grumpy, I don't think the Islanders community in New York as a whole are pieces of garbage. Just like 99.9% of Ranger fans.
No, I didn't say the Islanders community was garbage.
He's talking about New Yorkers, I guess, in general. It's just the Ranger fans, Grumpy.
That's what I said.
You said, Alexander says the stepdaughter's name was Jenna. That's right, Jenna. Jenna was there. Absolutely. Matthews, it was not 5 times. I did not pee 5 times, Grumpy. No.
5.
Frank Hay said Dobson's been covering for Romanoff, who completely sucks. I was about to say it's early yet, but that's still that initial knee-jerk reaction I made on draft night. Looks like that could very well be accurate. Very well be accurate, Grumpy.
We'll see.
Gungun said, how much money did you guys drop at the game, merchandise-wise, everything like that? Do they charge you to poop in the toilet at this point? No, they don't. We did get ourselves a little souvenir. We got ourselves a little Islanders against the Dallas Stars. I did want to get one of those little pucks. I'll collect those for every game we go to from now on. It was nice to get a little game puck.
Yeah.
But, that's the only thing we got. I was shocked. We were at they had no Minnesota North Star.
Well, it's Dallas.
I don't care. They still should have the Minnesota North Stars over there.
It's Dallas. You're not selling merchandise in a Dallas store for the team that hasn't been there in 30 years?
Alexander Grumpy. Oh,
it's all good, guys. Good. I don't have a lot of friends that are hockey fans, mostly football fans, but you guys are definitely an inspiration, and keep up the great work. Thank you, Alexander. We appreciate it.
Drew S. said, no cowboy hats. Not using y'all every other sentence. Are you sure you went to Dallas? Absolutely.
How many cowboy hats did we see in Dallas? Not too many.
Quite a bit compared to other parts of the country. Quite a bit.
Okay, but it's not like everybody's wearing a cowboy hat. I don't even think I saw any cowboy hats.
I definitely did. You weren't paying attention.
I was usually looking at the beautiful ladies.
You did have some beautiful ladies in Dallas. That's for certain.
They weren't wearing no cowboy hats.
Matthew, I said, I'm going to cut Roman off a break. I am too. It's early yet, but I will say it's trending like, yeah. Remember they said this guy has offensive potential to grow. He has no offensive potential. What he is what he is. He throws the body, which he does. Defensively, he looks out of position a lot, but it is still early. Um, and Nick C said,
What do you guys think? Who do you guys think should play on the opposite wing with Barzy and Wallstrom? As unseen as Bo's been playing, I don't think he'd bring the needed forecheck pressure to that line. They don't have an option to play with him. They don't. Uh, that's on Lamarillo, right? What was the goal at the season started? Parise and Palmieri. That means you don't have a plan. If those are the guys you're putting on the first line, it means you're not talented enough. You're not good enough. That's what we're seeing.
yeah,
Wallstrom has not been playing extremely well. He looked good after, I want to say, after he set Barzal up, he played better, and he was much better in the third. I thought that's the best I've ever seen him play for an extended period of time. I mean, almost took control on the power play. He was on that second power play unit,
all
and
by
I
himself.
he had like 4 shots on goal. I mean, and he had jump, he was going to corners. I'll say it again. If he plays like that continuously and maybe just a little, I mean, he's 22 years old. Maybe he's taking a little bit more time. If he continues to play like that, we've found someone who can play the wing with Barzal. We still need somebody on the other side, but at least we found one piece as opposed to needing 2. Maybe we only need 1. That's all going to be up to Wallstrom. Can he continue it? It's important for him.
Frank says, a 7-footer. LOL. And Alexander said, TJ, you're a tall son of a gun. I could see where you get your height from.
Well,
Definitely not from
the warden. Well, I'm not a midget, and the warden is pretty tall. So, got those combos of those genes. I was the tallest in my family, and she was actually the shortest in her family.
Dimitri P said, did you guys watch the first World Cup game? We did on the drive back. I don't understand how Qatar could put so much money into their soccer program and look so out of place. They look like a bunch of Josh Baileys running around. They look like a team that has never qualified for the World Cup ever. And they look like a team that bribed FIFA in order to go ahead and bring the World Cup there, because you looked at the stands, it was almost half empty at halftime when they were down 2-0.
They're paying people to go to games.
Yes.
People forget how poor a country Qatar is.
Some people are extremely rich and some people are extremely poor.
Yeah, it's real. People think haves and have-nots in the United States. There's nothing like Qatar. I mean, that's oil money. And like I said, they're paying people to go to games. They absolutely bribed FIFA. Those guys got convicted, got jail sentences, whatever they got a couple of years ago. Here's the thing. Anytime that you do a World Cup and you go to places like South Africa or Qatar, the sacrifices that have to be made for those countries, they can't even feed their population. And they're building stadiums. They're building these mega stadiums that are never going to be used again. They have the same thing as South Africa, the same exact thing as going on here.
South Africa has those stadiums that were built. That was the 2010 World Cup. So now you're looking at about 12 years later, 3 World Cups later. Those stadiums are completely barren, have not been upkept, haven't been used. They just don't have a reason to use them otherwise besides that one event. You think about all the resources and money that get put into those that you could use to feed the population and to better help the people around you. But you're like, hey, let's get the soccer matches here. It's hard to believe.
The World Cup should be held in the United States every 4 years.
Or well-established nations where they don't have to worry about building brand new arenas.
No.
And stadiums.
It should be in the United States every 4 years. Why? Because of the fact that we have such a great land mass here with the stadiums already in place. So you have the hotel accommodations for people who are coming. You look at if you put it in Europe, you put it in France or something like that, they just don't have the size to support that.
England does. France, Germany does. There's a lot of countries that do.
You realize how small those countries are compared to the United States?
Talking about they have a lot of stadiums there, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying the accommodations.
Spain. Spain, I mean, like there's a lot those countries that have huge teams, very very popular teams that house a lot of people can do it. Just like we use football stadiums here, American football stadiums here that have huge football audiences that like the team, and we just slam and say, here you go, this is gonna be a soccer stadium
But
here for a little bit.
they don't have the accommodations from people coming from all over the world.
Talking about like hotels and living
Yes,
arrangements.
yeah, the infrastructure that's needed. I don't think they do. I mean, here's the thing. Besides, I could go to some of the games here.
Drew L says, yeah, so it's for personal reasons, and Drew L says, Grumpy, I'll let you read this.
Off topic from the Islanders, but Tyler Heineke officially kicked Carson Wentz out of the starting job. Fantastic signing by Dan Snyder. I remember when Taylor Heineke played for the Carolina Panthers, and he did pretty good, led them, even though they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2020. He came in and had a very admirable showing in that first round playoff game. And he's not the greatest, most talented quarterback, but teams play well for him.
He's an NFL journeyman, and he's a guy who is a competent backup. I don't think that. I mean, he should have the starting job. It's that simple. Gugan says, I didn't realize you were a tall giant. TJ, I didn't realize you were a tall giant. From eating spinach, ?
And everything else he's ever seen.
Dave J. Grumpy.
What's up with Pellick this season? Were his deficiencies hidden in the trot system? Should Lambert reshuffle the D pairs? He absolutely should reshuffle the D pairs. Pellick seems like he's lost a step. They were the best. Pellick and Pulak were they're at their best 2019, 2020. And I think you've seen a decline. And what's the first thing that goes on? You're just skating. And I think we're seeing that in Pellick. And Pulak. Pulak's never been a great skater. The whole game, the whole league is predicated on speed now. And it's not about physicality. It's about speed. And if you don't keep up, you're going to get left behind. Noah Dobson would be good paired with Pellick. You see Pellick get walked around, but what's the one thing Dobson does well? He skates well. Romanov, good skater. Pulak, not so much. Spread the wealth a little bit. That's what I think he should do. I don't know if he will.
Max B. Grumpy says, what's up, fellas? Yeah, the female demographic for the show is similar to a Rush concert. I guess there's not a lot of females at Rush concerts.
Yeah, probably not.
Alexander Grumpy.
There were females when I used to go see Rush, but, I just don't think we have a large female contingent on the show. And it was nice that we found. And we should have quizzed her more on what she liked. I'm sure she was going to say the charming, grumpy old man and his buffoon-like partner.
Sure, that's what the lady would have said. There you go, Alex.
Alexander says, did you see when they announced the Islanders' goal? Both times they said, who cares? I yelled out, I do, thank you. I'll tell you what, they got a good goal song too. I like it. I tell you what, I was impressed with the fans.
Stars, yeah, it
was. There you go. Their goal song
was
was cool. Yeah, without a doubt. I got to say, it's better than our goal song. I'll tell you that much. And the fans, they sing some of the songs. Garth Brooks. I mean, even I know that song, "Friends in Low Places." It was nice. I mean, I got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed it. The fans were great. I was able to play with them a little bit, and they enjoyed it too. Good night, all right. Except
Drew L. Grumpy.
It's okay. I had some weird guy in a Buc-ee's one time talk about joining a religious cult. That was while I was peeing. And I'll tell you what, the bathrooms are like huge.
They're great.
I mean, it's huge. It's like, wow.
Best gas station you've ever been to, right?
It's a freaking gas station, bro.
It's just the best gas station, right?
It's a freaking gas station. It's like saying, hey, that's like the best crap I ever took. What's the difference? Stop. You got to do it. You got to go get gas. You got to take a crap.
Anthony Grumpy.
I've been watching religiously lately, but do you guys live on the island? Laugh out loud. You went to a Dallas game before UBS. Got to get yourselves there. The arena is beautiful. No, I live down in Charlotte, and TJ lives in the middle of the country. So we do not live on Long Island. I used to, but I don't any longer.
We were able to say,
it's not in Long Island. It's on Long Island.
Grumpy. Freedom, Fun, and Adventure says Grumpy and TJ. Nice. Grumpy, was TJ nice to you? You guys got some airtime. TJ is max 165 to 180 pounds. Anders Lee dwarfs him. How can the Islanders say they're serious about winning when Bailey is on the roster? Bavilier must go.
Yeah, I'm not saying Bavilier must go, but if there's a package deal and somebody wants Anthony Bavilier, I'm more than happy to move him. Isn't this the last year of his contract or is it next year?
He's got one more year.
Okay, I'm not afraid to move him. At the deadline, nothing that I've seen from the team this year is going to dissuade me from what I said at the beginning of the year. Come deadline time or just before, you got to move Varlamov, you got to move Mayfield. If you can move Bavilier, you do it. Time to restructure the team. We're not good enough. We're not good enough. Have some contracts that come off in a couple of years. It's going to be a struggle, but you know what? I'm willing to take the struggle if we can just make that transition a little bit smoother.
In Freedom Fun Adventure, I'll mention that I'm probably on the 165 side. I'm a slim 165 is probably my weight.
Oh, please. He bought an extra large. He went to Buc-ee's and bought an extra large t-shirt. That damn thing ain't never going to fit him. Never. I told him, I said, it's 100% cotton. That thing is never going to fit you. Never.
It's
Not
going to
in a
fit me
million
perfect.
years.
Jason C said, I've been to a Buc-ee's in Florence, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Gungun says, should the Islanders stop fooling around with starting goalie or starting Varlamov so much? There's a clear difference between the two.
True, but Varlamov has not been a problem for us this year. Not at all. I mean, he won us the Ottawa game, and he kept us in last. He was good yesterday, really good. But Dallas just a better team than we are. They're more physically gifted than we are. Nothing wrong with that. That's on the GM. That's not on the guys. The guys played hard yesterday. They're just limited. They're just limited.
Mm.
I mean, I don't bag on the guys at all, except for Bailey, of course, and Nelson and Lee. But for the most part,
And everybody else.
and Parise and Palmieri. No, but I mean, here's the thing: they're just not as gifted as some of these teams. They're older. They're just not the players they once were. It's not their fault. GM needs to make that transition. That's his job. That's what he's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be looking out for the future, not just the immediate, the future of the team.
He's a steward of the team.
Steward of the team.
He's a steward of the team, present and future. And if
Yeah.
you're not a steward of not only the present, but also the future, you're not a great general manager, right? We see him more focused on the present and completely neglecting the future. That's not an indication of a good steward of the team, right? I'm willing to overlook that complete disregard for the future if you're winning cups. We're not. Haven't even made 2 Stanley Cup finals yet.
We've never won anything with this group.
Correct.
Nothing.
Alexander said that third goal was weak, Grump.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of action in front of him on that third goal.
Matthew, I said Bavilier, for the most part, has been on a milk carton. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
DDT says, so the Islanders are in a playoff hunt this year. So this means they're getting older and trading prospects at the deadline. Yes, it means not only prospect, but also draft picks. We're going to continue to double down on a team that's past their peak and say, yes, let's add more to this fading team and roster and completely gut anything we have for the future.
We potentially have a couple of young players in the minors at Bridgeport who can play and move up. I'm adamantly opposed to trading draft picks. This is where ownership needs to step in. If he says, oh, well, we're this piece, no. And we're going to find out, though, right? You're going to find out before Christmas with all these games that we have against good teams after this little easy stretch that we have right now. We're going to find out just what this team is made of. If we come out and we're below 500 before Christmas, the season's over. Season's over. Then, you know what? How the team performs is what's going to tell you if we double down. Last season, we didn't perform. He didn't double down, but what he should have done was move guys off. At this point, you can't let anyone on this team, and I don't care how well we're playing, you cannot have anyone on this team on an expiring deal that you don't move at the deadline. Scott Mayfield is not coming back, and he shouldn't. Varlamov, he might want to come back, but he'd have to take a massive pay cut. Why not move him at the deadline and then bring him back for $2 million per? That's fine. But if he can get you a couple of draft picks, you know, if he continues to play really well, maybe a first, Mayfield gets you a first and a second. I mean, why would you not do something like that? I don't know. It's just like I said,
Because it
foolish.
doesn't help the team win for right now, and they want to
Well, we're
win
not
right now.
winning, but
That's
we're not winning. See, that's my
okay.
point.
That's the mindset that Lou has, and that's what he's thinking. Matthew S says we have too many third line guys. Yep,
True. True.
not enough high end talent. Apex Legends says Goon Goon or Grumpy Old Man grew horizontally like an American processed food loving boomer. TJ's a big guy, but the grumpy old man is his childhood nutritionist. TJ still thinks that hot dogs is quality meat.
It's true.
Ross was awful versus the Predators.
He struggled. That's why he didn't. That's why he's not playing.
Joseph C said moldy hot dogs.
Were the hot dogs moldy? I thought it was the
No.
cheese.
Uh-uh.
The cheese was definitely moldy.
Oh no, you're talking about there were hot dogs that had like green
That's
spots
right.
in them.
Oh, that's right. I remember now. Oh, okay. Now, son X, he phoned me and he had this steak that was due. It had expiration date of
Expiration. You always
expiration.
call exploration. We're not exploring anything, Grumpy.
Do you want me to pick apart the words you say wrong?
You always pick on my ass, so I'm doing the same.
You want me to do that? I can do that very easily.
Keep with your story. Get to your story, huh?
So he sent me a picture of the meat, and I'm like, no, that's no good. And he's like, well, what if I'm like, no. I said, you're not TJ, son X. Be a little bit smarter. And he heeded my warnings. He didn't eat it. He returned it. He got his money back.
Matthew has said Johnston is a fourth line guy only.
True. Drew L says, I mean, the team waving shish kebab probably gives Ishikov a chance up here.
Shish kebab. When are they going to learn? You can't play Martin and Johnson in the same lineup. I agree.
Matt Martin is done.
He's cashed out.
He's done. He's done. He's done.
Nick C says, who do you guys think is going to get the open spot on the team? Does this mean there's a trade in the works? I really hope not. I don't think anybody.
I hope not too.
I don't think anybody's getting that spot. I think it's just going to lie dormant and vacant for a while.
Why not? What the heck? We use all that salary cap money.
Oh, yeah. We're deferring it, so we're going to have more space at the deadline to make these big moves.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing, Grumpy.
Right.
Joseph C said, more's like Phil's fiction at this point. Oh, no. Gungun says, is it too early to put the Christmas tree up yet?
Yes, usually do it right after Thanksgiving.
You know what? Put it up. Drew L says, Phil was talking so much garbage about Wally 2 games ago, and he scored a power play goal, and I tweeted at him saying, Phil, you better delete this before it's too late. Oh, no. Oh,
the only
man.
one who should be allowed to tweet anything is me because I'm never wrong.
Oh, God, no. Drew L said, Cowboys-Vikings game is a literal murder going on right now. Oof, yeah.
You know how you lose? You want to know how you lose a fantasy matchup when the other team's defense puts up 24 points?
Only 16, by the way. It was only 16 points.
Oh, so maybe they lost some points. It doesn't matter. I lost. And I was favored to win by like 20-something. I wound up get beat by 30.
Okay. Brandon Gaines, Grumpy.
Brandon Gaines. All right, Brandon.
Were you really looking at your fucking fantasy team?
No, actually, I was looking at some of the Islander stats. Only Barzal and Dobson are the untouchables, and Sorokin as well. Not in reasonable position to go all in, sell and stock the cupboard. True. The forward core is old and the defense is coach Doug White style. I disagree with that. They're trying to engage the defense because they know that they don't have enough talent on the offense. I mean, it's not smart. Your goaltending has to be sensational. And so far it has been for the most part. So for me, kind of is what it is at this point. But for untouchables, I got to say Barzal, Dobson, Sorokin. Those are the 3 big ones. They're not going to move Pelech. They're not going to move Pulak. There's certain guys they're not going to move. But yeah, I mean, and Roman, they're not moving Roman off either.
Grumpy, we got a lot of comments, so I'm going to let you read them, but we're going to do some quick comments, Grumpy. We're 2 hours in. We want to make sure we're able to get this done. We can get all the comments through.
Derek Carr is playing like he wants C.J. Stroud to take his job until he threw that touchdown pass in overtime, which sealed my fate. Max Power says, from the Metro, you'll have the Devils, the Canes, the Islanders, and the Rangers. Maybe, maybe not.
Don't forget about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is still a team.
Alexandra says, should have taken a picture with you guys, but I know some people don't like their pictures taken, so wanted to respect you guys. Sorry about that, guys. No big deal.
Alexander, you can always take a picture with us.
D-Cut says, Vegas playing great for Cassidy as well. Yeah, he's turned them around. He also says, I've been telling you guys for years. Now it's a talent issue, yet Lou hardly gets mentioned in a negative light, except in Islanders misery rated R. That's not true, D-Cut. You know we've been saying that here on this show as well. Thank you.
Stephen S.
Okay, I'm really starting to panic. The Predators beat a playoff caliber team in the Islanders. What is happening? Why am I starting to have hope in this team? This was part of the script I wrote down. Okay.
As
Even
soon
for
as
those
you
who
get
don't
hope,
know, is an aspiring filmmaker.
yes, as soon as you start getting hope, it's a banana in the
They
tailpipe.
grind you into the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Goon
Goon
says,
Grumpy.
which comic villain was the most dangerous? The Riddler, the Green Goblin, or Mr. Mizaplik? I'm going to say the Green Goblin.
Couldn't even tell you any of those things. Freaking comic books. Alexander Grumpy.
I was wondering the same thing, guys. Why was Cizikas on the power play? Yeah, it made no sense. We couldn't even get out of our zone. And who's the winger? Wasn't it Clutterbuck? I think Clutterbuck was on the other
I
side.
don't even. I tried to block it out of my brain because I was like, "What the hell is this lineup we're throwing out here?" With
Bailey was
45 seconds remaining on the power play.
Bailey was out there too. D-Cut says TJ is an abnormally large individual. He's a big guy. He is.
Yeah.
Joel says, I think Barzal is finishing with around 88, 90 points this year. Just imagine if we had another skilled forward to go alongside him. Excuse me. That's always been the issue for the Islanders with their top line. Even when Tavares was here, same thing. They never got it went, even though they went after Vanek, and that was a good move. Always lack of talent around the superstar. Got to support them.
Interesting story. More collaboration. Not
collaboration. Corroboration.
More corroboration regarding John Tavares. Everybody knew John was leaving before the summer, despite Lou Lamoriello and the team lying to us. Everybody knew.
That was a snow thing, though. That was a snow thing.
Okay. Lou came in there and said, oh, yeah, we think we have a chance. He lied too. Snow lied too. They all lied. And here's the thing. Also found out that they pretty much knew Thomas Vanek was as good as gone as well, despite them thinking, oh, yeah, we're doing everything we can to sign him back. The team just lies to you all the freaking time. So it was interesting to see that. Interesting to hear about that too.
The fans are a necessary evil to management.
Yep. They don't care about us at all. No. Dave Johnson says Russell Wilson over Zach Wilson.
No. You're wrong, Grumpy. Zach Wilson's worse than Russell. No, he's not. Absolutely not. If Zach Wilson had an actual quarterback coach, Russell Wilson's cashed. He's cashed. He's finished. Joel says, hey, Grumpy, you wonder why TJ is always making fun of your fantasy team? It's because TJ sucks at it. Oh.
All my fantasy leagues, I'm doing well, Alex. I'm doing well on my leagues. Freedom Fund Adventure says, Grumpy.
Happy you guys created some good memories together. I like the new cap system and cap situation. You guys agree on allowing substantial young talent to rise over the next few years, or do you want trades? No, absolutely. I want to go the young route. Even if it means we're going to have some downtime, I'd much rather go young with something that you can build towards the future. We're not winning anything with this older group. Just not happening. Not winning a Stanley Cup, not winning division title, not winning the Eastern Conference. So, I mean, what are you going to win? Maybe you win a playoff round. Okay.
Drill said, I'm at the pray to make a chance making fantasy team playoffs. I'm going to be fine. D-Cut, Grumpy.
Full body Grump pick at the game looks younger than half body camera Grump. Oh, thank you. Thomas B says, gents, this team is too good for rebuild. No, I disagree. And not good enough to be a cup contender. Well, that's for certain. In other words, they're stuck in the middle, worst place to be. Well, you know what that means? When your team is, the majority is over the age of, on the wrong side of 30, it means you go into rebuild. And I'm not saying what they could have done. I'm just going to say it. I know I've said it 100 times before. You start the gradual transition. Instead, they keep doubling down where you wouldn't even have missed a step. But nope, they didn't want to do that. And it's just bad things are going to come. Drew L says, because I'd argue if I'd give Lane Lambert a B plus as a coach this year. Yeah, I mean, I think he's been good for them. They had to change up the system, had to do it.
I just noticed, how long have I been mute for?
Oh, I didn't even know you were talking. I thought actually it made it pleasant for the show. Goon says, if this is not considered an emergency podcast, should it be considered a guilty pleasure? Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
Hey, whatever floats your boat.
US.
You know, one thing that floats my boat, good music albums. That floats my boat. Drew S says, American Airlines Center is a beautiful arena. Saw an Islanders game there during the bonus regime. Can you believe Cuban wants a new arena? Uh, he
I
might
guess
want
when you're a
one.
multi-billionaire or whatever he is, and you could just want anything like that, you can get it done.
I mean, it's right in the center of downtown.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's a modern city. Very that's reminds me a lot of Charlotte, actually. I don't know. It's not that old, is it?
I don't think so.
I
It
don't-
looked really nice.
well, maybe if he wants to build it in a surrounding area, I think they're going to have a hard time putting it in the city with that one.
He also says, I'd love to meet up with you guys and either make it out, if you guys could ever make it out to a Phoenix or Vegas game, going to the Coyotes game at Mullet Arena next month.
Actually, I'd love to go to the Phoenix game
when they're still in the works. I was about to say
when they're
Arizona
that
State. That'll be
small, when they're
fun.
that small, but yeah, man,
Um, who gives a flying F what Dobson ends up with? I do, Frank,
Ooh.
because it's financial freaking, it's a poor management of your assets. And I hate that. There's nothing that makes me more upset.
TJ has drawn a line in the sand on this $10 million a year thing. That's not going to happen.
It is going to happen. I know it.
Okay.
I know it is, Grumpy.
Okay.
Because says, Varlamov has also played great versus the Rangers.
Yeah, he's been good this year. I mean, I thought he was a little bit down last year, but he's been fine this year. I got no problems with him at all. Got to move him, though. Got to move him.
Good evening, John and Ian. How are you guys doing? John and Ian. Thank you again, guys, as always.
Ian's a future linebacker.
There he is. Dimitri P. Grumpy.
He can also eat some hell out of some ribs. I'll tell you that. Dimitri P says Thomas Hickey didn't know who Josh Bailey was. It was not Thomas Hickey. No. Odd because they played together for a long time. I don't think if you asked Brock Nelson who Josh Bailey is, he probably wouldn't know either.
Oh no. Drew L. Grumpy.
I got to tell you, how did the Lions shut down Saquon today? Giants were all sorts of crap today. Yep.
Okay, Drew.
He was on my fantasy team too. Part of the losing fantasy team in the money league.
As I've told you, Drew, multiple times before, and I've mentioned on the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show, Saquon Barkley is a better Reggie Bush. He has to rely upon explosive plays in order to do anything successful. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3 yards, 4 yards. Bam, 70-yard run. Bam, 28-yard run. He's an explosive player, and if he doesn't get the explosive burst, he doesn't do shit. Just who he is.
Okay.
Mookie Betts, Grump.
This is something. There was something missing with this team on offense. Yeah, talent. Also, Varlamov has not been great this year. Maybe time to move him. I think he's been really good this year, but it is time to move him.
Yep.
He's not the Varlamov of 2 years ago when he was considered a potential Vezina finalist. But that was a system. That's a system. You got to remember right now, with the way we're playing offense by engaging the defense, these guys are getting kind of hung out to dry and have to make plays on their own. And I think they've done a good job. D-Cut says, Casey has taken so many stick penalties this season. Got to move your feet. You want to know who else has been taking a lot of stick penalties? Average Anders Lee.
I say Anders Lee. Anders Lee's been taking a lot of penalties there. Reaching.
Yep. Alexander says, this shows you that this team needs another first-line winger. And, man, Bailey, on that one shift where he was doing his turnover after turnover, it was one shift he was really bad. But I thought he actually played better than he had recently. But, when you're starting at ground zero or like below ground zero, just to get up to zero, is that really an accomplishment? I don't know. Mookie Betcher says, TJ, any cozy Thanksgiving stories to share with Grump growing up on the island?
I never grew up on the island. Grumpy did. But here's the thing: we do have one video that we have got to get from the warden. We've got to get pre-approval. We've got to get pre-approval from the warden to show.
It's not happening. She will never approve that. She will never.
Yes, she will. She doesn't even look that bad in it.
She will oh, it doesn't matter. She will never approve that video.
I think she will. Mario, we got to work on it, Grumpy.
Have you guys seen a YouTube video of a guy comparing the prospect pool Snow compiled against the one of Lamarillo's? He claims to examine Lamarillo's 5 years against Snow's last 5 years, and surprise, surprise, Lamarillo has compiled the better prospect pool. One caveat: he does not include goaltenders or any players who are currently on the roster. He also includes Wahlstrom and Dobson as Lamarillo's list of prospects. Yeah, that guy's being disingenuous. Lamarillo was here 5 days before the draft. They are not his prospects.
Well, don't you know, Lamarillo did a lot of work in those 5 days. Lamarillo did a lot of work because he got Ishikov in that same draft. He did a lot of work in those 5 days.
But here's the thing. You're not allowed to include players who are on teams. Well, Garth Snow hasn't been here for 5 years. All of his prospects would already be on the team. Matter of fact, they all already are on the team. How many of Lou Lamarillo's prospects, his actual prospects, are on this team? Zero. Zero.
Okay, seriously, let's look at the players. Simon Holmstrom, miserable. Samuel Bolduc. I'd say there's potential.
Maybe.
Reese Newkirk, no chance. Felix Bibu. Cole Costley. Alexander Lundkrantz. Alex Jeffries. Maybe a bottom 6 guy.
He's not going to make it.
William Defoe.
Maybe.
Matis Rajaniemi. Henrik Tikkanen. Atu Ratu.
Maybe, yes.
Tristan Lennox. Cameron Berg. Ichu Liukas. Aleski Malinin. Grumpy, I'm hearing a lot of ink from you. Thomas Machu. Kali Odelius.
Maybe.
Who the hell knows? Quinn Finley.
Maybe.
Again, who knows? It's really tough to tell the guys who are just
anybody from this year's draft.
I'm not even going to include because we have no freaking idea just quite yet.
Who are Garth Snow's prospects? Because they're all in the league. I mean,
here's the thing. I still give Wahlstrom, Dobson there to Snow. That scouting team was never changed. The scouting team was Garth Snow's team. Garth Snow recruited players under that time period. He was fired, and Lou Lamoriello appointed 5 days before the NHL.
Nelson,
draft.
Lee.
Okay, Robin Salo. Sebastian Aho is a guy who's a Garth Snow drafted guy. Kiefer Bellows, who's no longer with us, is a Garth Snow drafted guy. Matt Barzal, right? Pretty miserable Matt Barzal.
He doesn't count. He doesn't count because he's on the team.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anthony Bavillier must not count then too.
Right.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Devon Taves, I'm sure, doesn't count either. He was another one of those Garth Snow guys. Yeah. So, I mean, prospects, he doesn't have any prospects because
he's been gone for 5 years.
Ryan Pulak, another one of those Garth Snow guys. Adam Pellick, Garth Snow guy. Scott Mayfield, Garth Snow guy. Ryan Strome, Garth Snow. I was about to say, I don't know who the hell did that, but
it's probably Fredo. I don't know what the name of the guy. It's probably Fredo. He's probably goes on the name Fredo from Bridgeport. Hey, Fredo
Lamoriello. Fredo Lamoriello. I go under an alias. My name is Fredo. Fredo L.
This is Fredo from Bridgeport. Lou Lamoriello is doing a great job. I'll tell you what. Yeah.
Okay, we got to get through. I'm sorry.
He's way younger than the 80 years old you're saying. Okay. Joseph C says that Jet game wasn't as close as the score suggested. The Patriots were moving the ball well all day. Zach Wilson is not the guy, and LaFleur, like his brother, sucks at running an offense. They need a good quarterback coach for Zach Wilson, period. End of sentence, end of story. Next comment. D-Cut says, new drinking game. We take a shot every time Grump says young guys. TJ brings up Phil's facts or Mikey Ryan, and Alexander brings up his uncle.
We'll be getting trashed over the holidays.
It won't even be an hour in. We'll be 3 sheets to the wind. Alexander says, I was trying to move where you guys were last night. I messaged you on Twitter, and TJ was up the old man.
Oh, I wasn't even logged in on that one. It was packed there anyway, so no, it didn't. Got here, Drew L.
I had a roommate like that, Grumpy, in college. He'd sleep through like an hour of alarms. Like, I'm an extraordinarily heavy sleeper, but even I wake up once my alarm is heard. Maybe GJ doesn't hear it. I don't know, but it's like, duh. Drew L says, come on, TJ. Grumpy is old for a reason. You're the young one. You got to take care of your passenger princess, TJ. That's me, the passenger princess.
That's the lovely Paige when we drive too. She's the passenger princess.
John M says, after watching the game live last night, I got to realize that the Islanders don't have enough players with high-quality hockey IQ or hockey sense. We have one who is so superior. You figure that he'd be able to – he's like the big brain, like a mastermind. Remember that movie Mastermind?
Megamind.
Big brain on Josh Bailey.
You mean Megamind, Grumpy.
Whatever. Mastermind, Megamind. It's Josh Bailey.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, I said the same thing. Frank
He's
says,
blow your mind.
How could Baviliev not have gone to the backhand on that breakaway? Yeah, I thought the same thing. I'm like, dude, go backhand. It was even on that 2-1. Go your freaking hand to the backhand, man. Backhand.
Where should he went to?
Oh, Dika says, how about that drunk Thompson scratching William Defoe Friday night?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. Here's the thing. I don't think you should ever bench the young guys like that. It's a developmental league. You're trying to develop. It's like in AAA baseball. If you said this guy's one of our top prospects, but you're continuing to bench him to play a washed up 37-year-old Jason Isringhouse.
I disagree that he should never bench him, because if they're trying, it is developmental league.
Yes.
And if he's, if they tell him to do a certain thing. Now, he's a goal scorer, so I don't know what the issue is. But let's say he's saying, hey, fella, you got to do something this way. And he refuses. You know what? Let's sit up in the press box and watch. We'll have one of the, sit up there with one of the assistants, and we're going to tell you what we want you to see. As long as it's constructive and not punitive, I don't have a problem with it.
Matthew has said, Ratu with the overtime winner. And I disagree. I think Nashville is very good, and they're just underperforming. Okay.
Okay.
John A says, we have the 5th worst expected goals for and high danger chances. Right there with Anaheim, Arizona, Chicago, and the Detroit Red Wings. Some great company there. I don't even know what the XGF stands for, but I know it must not be good. Oh, maybe the 5th worst expected goals for. Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
You think
we're not expected to score a lot of goals is what that means, I guess.
And every time you can almost tell when we're going to score a goal. I knew we were going to score on that power play that Barzal scored. You can feel it. And you can feel it when in the third period, when things start going our ways. It's like, we'll just have a little burst of energy. We'll pop in the goal and kind of get the other team shook. It's not conducive to long-term success, though. It just isn't.
Frank Hayes said the Giants prove they aren't ready yet. They don't have enough weapons. The Giants just aren't good enough yet. They don't have the right weapons. They don't have the right quarterback.
They might make the playoffs. Very easily could make the playoffs in the NFC, but they're not going anywhere. Correct.
Grumpy, Max B.
Nashville is not good, but if we played them more often, they'd be a guaranteed playoff team. Ooh, that's harsh. Not sure why, but we always seem to save our worst games for them. Well, I thought we beat them. Joel says Russell Wilson is playing like he's going to get waived at the end of the season. Broncos get an E- for that contract.
I'll tell you one thing. That just it fast tracks the freaking cap hit. So you better really go full rebuild then. My little brownie, Grumpy.
Grump, you finally watched Palmieri and Parise in person. Still think they're complete trash, or just playing on subpar lines? They're finished.
They're not noticeable. I mean,
there's nothing special about them. Like most of the players on this team, there's nothing special about the guys.
You look at minutes.
Yeah, that's what they are. Parise had a couple of good shifts. Palmieri was meh. Bailey was meh. Did you even notice Lee last night? Nelson? No. We're just okay. Dallas is a good team who, with Peter DeBoer, put good structure in there. They just negated us. They're good. Nicky says, TJ, Grumpy, how are you guys doing tonight? TJ, you're built like a house. Grumpy, you should smile more often.
Grumpy, you should smile more often.
I think I had a smile in the picture.
I know. He said he liked your smile in the picture.
I actually smile a lot for the show, though. I'm the grumpy old man for a reason.
Max P. Grump.
Must be all the country music. Country music is our Lex Luthor. LOL. Maybe so.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun,
Good.
though. It was fun. Oh, crap. I just realized Grumpy is broadcasting from a different room. Is that your cigar smoking room or bathroom? No, I'm at TJ's house.
There it is. Yes.
Rob G says, hey, glad to see you guys back. TJ and Grumpy, sorry. They sucked. It was that last portion of the game, but we can still go 2-2 on this road trip. Go Islanders. Barzal at least scored finally. Yeah, I mean, he was just kind of snake bitten a little bit. Nice to see him. That was a beautiful deflection. And the second one was just all him.
Freedom Fun Adventure.
TJ's late because he's busy doing his hair.
With a question mark. Oh, my goodness.
Because he's doing his hair.
By the way, the Giants had to follow suit and got beat by a lesser team. They're in big trouble. Daniel Jones needs to run more. Vanilla Vic. Vanilla Vic is not the right answer at quarterback. He's a mediocre QB.
The Lions suck. You never should have lost to the Lions, period. They've been good defensively. They got a run on today.
Wade Flaherty. Wade Flaherty was very critical of us, being critical of the Islanders recently. So let's see what Wade Flaherty has to say.
The next puck battle that Bailey wins will be the first of his career. He will never take a hit to make a play. The second he feels anyone near him, he throws the puck away. He's a soft little bitch. That's what we've been saying forever.
If he was tougher, he would be like a guy. He has the passing ability of a guy like Nick Backstrom because he's a fantastic.
Oh, stop. He's not Nick Back. Don't even.
No. I didn't say that. Don't take this wrong way. I said, if he was tougher, if he did the things well, I said he has the passing ability of a guy like Nick Backstrom. I didn't say he has the passing ability of Nick Backstrom. I said he has the passing ability of a guy like Nick Backstrom. He's a very good passer. That's the only thing he does well. He's so anemic that every other asset of his game.
Oh, he's a better passer than average Anders Lee and Brock Nelson, but he's not a great. He's a good passer. He's a good passer. And I'm going to tell you what, there are games when Josh Bailey comes in and is motivated and goes into corners. They're noticeable and that's why I get on him, because when he plays like that, if he played like I've seen him play in individual games every night, I'd be his biggest fan. But they're so few and far between. And then here's the thing. Whenever they have one of those things, you know what? Whenever he has one of those games, what happens? All the Bailey loves, oh, look at Josh Bailey. Oh, he's phenomenal. He scored a goal and 2 assists tonight. Yeah, and they'll go another 15 games without putting up a point.
Josh Bailey's elite is what they say.
Yeah.
Frank says, I bet Barzal would be an amazing winger.
He's a really good center, too. The only thing he doesn't do well is take faceoffs. That's it. He's a creator. Matt S. says the only thing that this does for Lou is it gives him a pass on being canned now. I disagree.
I think at the end of this year, if you don't make the postseason, he should not be offered a new contract.
He should. I don't care. He shouldn't be hired back anyway.
I know. I'm just saying there's no way he should be offered a new contract at the end of the season if he doesn't.
He's freaking 80. He's 80. Move on. He's freaking 80. Drew L says, at the end of the day, Dictator Lou doesn't want to be questioned on his moves. The old fart is a know-it-all. A lot of old farts are know-it-alls. Right, TJ?
That's you, Grumpy.
Thank you. I mean, geez, I fed you. I mean, I had to feed you and say, right, TJ. I mean, come on.
I'm trying to get things prepped up for what's coming up next. But yes, John A says Blues
and the Predators are just as good as we are, so I wouldn't expect them to be easy wins. I think the Blues will beat us next time out. Delaney, she says, hey, so happy to see you guys last night. Do you think we'll beat the Panthers when we play them next month? No way. After we've lost them twice already this season, no, we're not beating the Panthers.
No. Nice to meet you too, Delaney, also.
She was sweet.
Yep.
John A says Malkin's 1,000th game tonight. I doubt it gets as much coverage as Bailey's did. Very, very true. Very true.
Okay, think about that. Malkin playing 1,000 games is going to get less coverage maybe than Bailey's did.
Does anyone care? What do you think of Malkin? Do you think, wow, he's played 1,000 games, or do you think, man, he's been a great player throughout his career?
I think, wow, that's a Hall of Fame player right there.
Yeah. When they say Josh Bailey, it's like, unless we've invented a new symbols for numbers, we cannot be retiring his number because then everyone would get retired.
Frank.
Frank says our guys aren't the best finishers. True. Poor starters.
Alexander also says here.
I don't like how JG tried to bank it off of Ottinger. He should have tried the wraparound.
We didn't even get a shot on
I don't
that.
know
It
if he
just
would have
drove me
made it.
nuts.
I don't know if he would have made it.
Brandy Gaines also saying
People
here.
want to kill Romanoff. Why isn't the same energy towards Pelech, who's looked awful in Lane's system?
I think there's I think Pelech and Pulik have both looked mediocre in this system.
We've called them out.
But you're right.
I've called them out for the last few years. They've had a steady decline.
Most fans do not point that out. Most fans don't talk about that, but they've been mediocre looking at best at times.
The reason why Romanoff gets so much hate is because he's the new guy, and when he's out of position, he's really out of position. It's really bad. Pelech, you could just walk around Pelech now. He gets walked around. I think he's lost a full step from 2 years ago. A full step.
Frank, they're saying TJ needs a prostate exam. No inspection. Absolutely not. I'll take a pass. Delaney said, I'm going to work on some tips to get you guys to get more female listeners. Thank you, Delaney. Many thanks.
Whatever you can do.
We'll have to market the sex appeal of the grumpy old man more often, I guess. Oh, there it is. Okay. Rob Grumpy.
Rob G, not Rob. Rob G.
Rob G, I'm sorry. Not Rob. It's Rob G.
We didn't get any puck luck in those last 2 games we had. It seemed that way, in my opinion. I know we hit the post in the bar, but those shots have to go in for us sometimes, don't you think? We've gotten quite a bit of puck luck this year.
That's what I said early on. That's what I said it all evens out. So we didn't get some puck luck the last 2 games, but I mean, like it evens out.
And we were poor against Nashville. Coming in the third period, we were great. Really, really good. I thought we were going to win. Break here, break there. It is what it is. But I mean, it is what it is. What can I? D-Cut says, I don't think there's much upstairs with Wahlstrom. No comment.
No comment is right.
Matt S. says Wahlstrom was better last night. People want to crucify this kid at the first chance they get. Yep. And he was much better tonight in the third period on. Much better. If he plays like that, we're in good shape.
I was about to say, he's a guy who sometimes looks a little lost on the ice, but when he's feeling it, holy shit, I'm like, man, this right here, Wahlstrom, take it and run with it, Ollie Waltherson, take it and run with it, Waltherson. That's what we need you to do.
Waltherson.
Brandon
Gaines says, this team isn't good enough. We know it, and I'll be honest, the Islanders organization knows it too. They're in transition. They're not win now anymore. Eddie Mikhailov and or Burakovsky wasn't making this team a guaranteed cup finalist since there's literally 5 other players, fourth line and bottom pair, who aren't effective in any way, shape, or form. True. The thing with Burakovsky and what was his other name? Mikhailov.
And Mikhailov.
Is that they're younger. And you could have got them for reasonable deals. The whole thing is they just fall in love with the old guys and they double down on the old guys. That's the problem. Got to transition away from that. Rob G says we can definitely beat the Maple Leafs and stick it to the John Tavares. Pooper. Yes. LOL.
My goodness gracious. And John A said, I got to agree. Add Beauvillier to that mix. Guys gives Napoleon Dynamite stares during the pressers. Oh, gosh. Talking about, man, hold on. All of these, again, no comment on this thing. All these players who are not very smart, is this because we watch Josh Bailey and he's so smart with his hockey IQ that it makes everybody else pale in comparison to him? Where anybody who's got the blank stares is not got much going on upstairs, I guess. Oh.
Hey, Ogilvy. Ain't like algebra, is it?
Brandon Gaines
says this past draft and Romanov plus George trade is a sign this team is in transition to be a better skating team long term. Got to move past their prime players out first at the bare minimum now. Varlamov, Mayfield, Nelson, Palmieri, Parise. Okay, Varlamov, yes. Mayfield, yes. Nelson, no. Palmieri, who's going to take him? And Parise, what value does he have? I mean, if you want to move him, you got to give the young guys a shot. I don't know. I mean, I just think we need a new GM. And I think that's bad news for Lane Lambert. Maybe it won't be unless they just slide Fredo up there, and then we're in real trouble. I'm sorry. That's Papa. Papa's just going to be pulling the strings.
Pulling the it's going to be a proxy.
Don Lamoriello is going to
be
be
the proxy general manager. It'll be the proxy general manager. Eve L said this to us, Grumpy. It is of Aturatu's overtime goal here. 2-2 against Providence. Aturatu scores. I'll let you watch the exchange.
Good play defensively for Savigny, pinching the puck in front of the penalty boxes. Bumped it towards Fashing. He was challenged by Lysell. Lysell comes in, right circle, track, shoots, save, Skark, rebounds loose, backhand try, and it doesn't go. Oh, Kolpanen couldn't finish it. Ratu the other way, a breakaway, Ratu in, forehand, score!
Just coming with speed.
Okay.
Is that Keith Kincaid? I didn't think that was necessarily a great shot.
All I know is that goaltender committed. I mean, gosh, I think
that's
didn't
Keith
even hit the
Kincaid.
blue line. He's terrible. He former Devil goalie.
Yes.
It looked like he committed before he hit the blue line. No. Not a good look. Hey.
Yeah, Brandon Gaines also said add Pavilion to that list too. Jesus H. My gosh. He's coming at the mental capacity of all these players. My good gracious.
No, I think he's talking about just trading everybody.
Oh.
I mean, and we're 11-8. Imagine what it would be if we were 8-11. Rob G says it's snowing like a bastard here.
D-cut.
Will there be a TJ and the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show later?
Probably not.
Okay.
The show would be going on right now, Grumpy. So
is it? What time is it? No,
it's
well, not really. Not really. Not really. It's 12 after 7 your time, which 12 after 8. So no, that show would not be going on now.
Raji said Barzal scored for you, Grumpy.
He did. I knew he was going to score yesterday. It's crazy.
Vinny Smith, Grump.
Bales on the power play. We stopped scoring. JG 2 goals, puts Bales there. Nothing. I tell you, he's like line cancer. He's a line killer, right? Snorting up those lines. That's
Scarface.
He's a line killer. Yeah. He's Tony Montana, man. Take Bales off the top 2 lines. Okay. Jake out in San Diego says, keep in mind that we've got what we got for the Travis Hamonic trade. That should be a lesson for Lou on how to manage an asset. I don't think he's capable of doing that anymore.
We got 2 second-round picks for a guy in Travis Hamonic who was at the time. For the Islanders, I mean, he was an okay defenseman for us. He was a fan favorite because we liked him. He was good for us. But I mean, like in reality, he was a guy who was maybe the number 4, the number 5 defenseman on a good team, and we got 2 second-round picks for him.
Yes.
It's yes, absolutely. Declan, Grumpy F.
Garth, yeah. Oh, you started so early. I'm late. We played decent against the Stars. They're just better. Nashville lost hurt though. We would have won that game if we didn't play like a junior hockey time for the first. And I want to say most of the second as well.
And Brandon Gaines here, yeah.
Calgary was beyond idiotic for making that trade, given how garbage was in 2016-17. I'll take it though. Garth Snow was really good at winning trades. He was. Lou Lamoriello, not so much.
James F.
Says, guys, I hear trade rumors about Bo Horvat for a first and a mid-round and Josh Bailey. I'm not doing it.
I don't even think, and we don't even know if he's going to be, who the heck knows what's going on. Here's the thing. It's so early. If Vancouver, remember when St. Louis, the year they won the cup, they were rumored to trade Vladimir Tarasenko as the trade deadline was about a month out, and they were in last place, and they went ahead and pulled off a whole bunch of wins in a row. And they wound up winning a cup, and that completely changed it. Oh yeah, never mind. We love Vladimir Tarasenko. Everything's great. It's crazy what a little bit of a winning streak will do for you. And the Vancouver Canucks, a team on paper, they have a lot of talent. They just are not winning games.
Why would they trade? I don't understand.
Expiring contract. Why would he want to sign back?
Well, is he unrestricted or restricted?
They're on a 2-game winning streak, the Vancouver Canucks. He's unrestricted, Grumpy. They're on a 2-game winning streak of the Vancouver Canucks. If the Vancouver Canucks go ahead and win, go on a 5 or 6-game winning streak, we're all singing a very different tune.
Now, he's a guy I wouldn't mind going after as an unrestricted free agent, but I'm not giving up first-round draft pick where he can walk. That's not happening.
Are those holiday pants, TJ? Yes, they are. Yes, is it too early to be putting on? Is it too early to be putting on up the Christmas tree? I've already got Christmas little sleep pants on, so no, it's not too early.
The warden buys everyone matching pajamas for Christmas every year.
She does. Rob G says Josh Bailey needs steroids. Oh no, it's not going to do much for him. James F.
Islanders should have won versus the Predators, but I don't know what happened last night. Barzal's got 2 goals, but didn't play defense on the Stars' second goal. I don't know why Sorokin couldn't play. It wouldn't have mattered.
I think they wanted
Barzal
to be
was
able
not
to
the
play.
problem. Barzal was not the problem. I mean, Dallas has some talent on that team. James F says, Grumpy, where can I see the 5th season of Yellowstone? I'm all caught up. Last week was the 2-hour season premiere. You might be able to see repeats. I don't know if you get Paramount Network, not Paramount Plus, Paramount Network, or Country Music Television, CMT. The 3rd episode will be tonight at, I don't know what time, but it's definitely on those channels. Apex Legend Senior Citizen says, when the Islanders call up Ishikov, the young Russian star will produce. He will make the power play great. Parise sucks. Why not give him a shot? I don't know. I mean, I realize we still have a winning record. We're still in the playoff hunt. But if things go south again, you have to consider that, don't you?
I would. It just is a lot that can happen. I think we're a better constructed team this year than last year, and I think the players believe in the coach more this year than last year. So even if there may be some more flaws regarding our coach and regarding certain items, I think the team is more bought in, and I think our defensive pairings are way better this year than last year. So I think we're a better overall team this year than last year.
Yeah, we're just old on the offense, just old. We're just not good enough offensively. Sorry. It's an offensive league now. Just not good enough. My little brownie says, are the Islanders doing a disservice to younger guys by not rotating them in and out of the lineup so they can get experience, win or lose? Wouldn't mind seeing how players like Ratu handled the NHL. Unless you're ready, it's best to let them play every single night down to the A. I have no problem with that at all. The whole thing is you can't do like Lamoriello says, well, we want these guys to be overripe. No, you want the best players to play. And maybe Ratu's not ready yet. Maybe he is. But I tell you what, there's a lot of guys who are playing on the big league roster who just aren't good enough anymore.
Goon Grumpy.
Does Zach Wilson have foul photos of Coach Sala? That is the only explanation why the Bald Bandit won't sit Zach for at least a few series and give the golden boy, Mike White, a shot.
Wow. Already calling for the backup. The backups are coming. Drew Hell said,
offensive line sucks. The Jets' offensive line sucks, period. Drew L says, so is 5 and 6 doing well, TJ? I'm probably going to be 8-3 in both of my leagues.
It's all right. I'm surviving. It's all about surviving and advancing, making the postseason. All you have to do is make the postseason. And after that, anything can happen in the playoffs of fantasy football. Goon says Mark Sanchez looks like Joe Montana.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mark Sanchez looks like Joe Montana compared to Zany Zach. God.
Zany Zach. I like
Zany Zach. There you go, Grumpy.
Apex Legend Senior Citizen says Ratu, DeFore, Ishikov, and Bolduc are all making the New York Islanders roster. You can start trading Bailey, no value. Mayfield, absolutely has value. Pajot, why not? And that loser Parise. There's a whole bunch. Like I said, I'd move most of them if I could.
Eve L says here, unrestricted free agents, Kane or Tarasenko this summer. What say you? I think they're both going to have contracts signed wherever they go.
I'm not going for either one of them. I'd go for Horvat. Why?
Hold on. If Kane, I would take Kane on a 1 or 2 year deal.
He's not going to sign a 1 or 2 year deal. You think he's going to sign a 1 year deal? You think he's going to come to the Islanders on a 1 or 2 year deal?
Yes, Grumpy. We've got the brand new facility. We've got Lou Lamoriello, the legend. We've got so many things that would make it appealing to come here.
Bo Horvat's a guy I'd go after. Just like Johnny
Moore, too.
He's a guy I would have went after. There's nothing wrong with signing a big ticket free agent guy, but you have to sign the right one. You want to sign a guy who's in his 30s, like Kyle Palmieri.
Apex Legend puts it well. No thank you on the old man, Tarasenko. No thank you on Kane unless he signs a friendly deal to play with Matt Barzal.
That's not happening.
James F said, guys, Rutgers got killed by Penn State. You think Rutgers should just close the program or go to a weaker division?
Nah.
They're trying to get it going with Greg Schiano. It's going to take a while.
They don't mind bringing that money in, when those Big Ten teams come into Rutgers University.
Goon says, I dare / challenge you, champs, to go into the Teaching the Grumpy Old Man podcast right after this. You'll be on the air for 10 straight hours. Teach will be 7 times. No, we had a long day driving. I'm feeling we're starting to slowly wind down.
See, I thought we should have incorporated some of the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man stuff in this podcast, but I was shut down as usual.
What do you mean you're shut down? What do you want to talk about? Well, after we get through this, what do you want to talk about, Grumpy?
I don't know. I thought we could talk about the NFL.
We'll talk about the NFL.
Okay.
What do you mean? What do you want to talk about? I'm good.
Well, I want to get to the comments, though.
Rob G says he's going to meet us at the new arena. Absolutely. Andrew L said, buy the warden something nice, Grumpy. The day you ask permission for the plate video.
She's never going to okay the plate video. Never.
I think she would.
She will never okay the plate video.
Maybe.
That will never be okayed. You have to know the warden to know that's never going to happen. Evel says, what the hell happened to the Islanders during the 1994 playoffs? Nobody showed up. Arbor retired after that crap showing. Yeah, he was finished by then. Nothing wrong with that. Still the greatest coach in Islander history. Drew L says, Fredo Lamarillo, the supposed next GM of your New York Islanders. I hope not. Did you guys see who passed away today? No.
James F. saying, Hendon Hooker, Tennessee quarterback there, tore his ACL. You guys still draft? Okay, Hendon Hooker is not a good QB. Tennessee is an overrated team. Yeah. Tennessee's an overrated team. I watched them almost lose to the University of Pittsburgh in double overtime. I've seen them lose to South Carolina and the teams of others. They're not. They might end the year with 3 or 4 losses. Think about where they were. 7 or 8-0? They might end the year with 3 or 4 losses.
Well, with him out for the year, yeah.
Robert M. says Dufour, 2 goals in 2 games.
I'll be interested when he comes to town in Charlotte. I do want to see him play. I want to see what his skating is. You learn a lot watching when you can focus on a certain guy. Alexander says, how about what's going on with Shane Wright? He may want out. I did not know that. I'm interested about that.
I didn't hear anything about Shane Wright.
Neither did I. I mean, hey, Seattle's playing
pretty well. He re-signed to the AHL on a conditioning loan.
He can't go to the AHL. He's either got to go back to juniors. He can't go to the AHL.
He's only played 7 games this year. So no, most certainly he can. He hasn't played the 9 games total. He just has been a lot of healthy scratches.
But, okay. Well, I thought you could not play in the AHL if you're, 1 or 2 years out of juniors. I thought you had to go back to your team. That's why they let them play 9 games and they send them back to their teams. Okay. Drew says, crazy didn't know you were at TJ's house, Grumpy, because one room looks like a poser trying to look smart with all the books, and the other room looks like a Florida beach house.
I'm very intelligent. That's why I read all these books every day, Drew.
It's nice to know that you knew you were the poser. I do appreciate that.
Ariel C.
Dobson, not very good defensively. Well, that's what happens when you have to cover for your other partner. I'm not saying he's the greatest. I'll tell you, you watch him up close. He's so good at doing small things in the defensive zone. He's still not physically strong enough, in my opinion. But the thing that makes him look worse than he is he's trying to cover for the other guy.
He's done it the last 2 years.
Yep. When Roman and even with Boychuk, it was the same thing. When you have to do that, you get stretched too thin, and it's just difficult. And that's not his skill set. He's not a defensive defenseman. He's an offensive defenseman.
I'd rather take a good defenseman with fantastic offensive upside than a great defenseman with no offensive upside.
None. Ariel says, if Lou doesn't see that we desperately need a top 6 winger, I don't know what to say. We cannot keep going back and forth with Johnson and Bailey. That's brutal. Bo was awful too for a third liner at best. Yep. Everyone's coming around to our way of thinking.
Here's the thing I worry about. We have needed a legitimate bona fide top line winger for years now. And every year at the trade deadline, we never addressed that. John Gabriel Pajot, Travis Zajac, Kyle Palmieri, Andy Green. We never addressed the need for a top 6 forward. Ever.
Or you draft guys like Simon Holmstrom. Or you trade away, your first-round draft picks, because that's where you're going to get it. You're not going to get those guys at trade deadline. You're not going to. You can draft one, but the whole thing is you can't be picking in the third round, late in the second. Can't do that. You need high-end first-round picks. D-Cut says, if Varley would sign for 1 year, $2.75 million for next year, would you bite? I don't even want him for that much. 2.5.
I'd take him that, absolutely.
Okay. But
2 years. I'd even take him 2 years, 2.75.
I'm moving him. I'm moving him at the deadline.
Mm.
Then bring him back.
And then Brett W says, doesn't say much for Bailey when you sit for a fourth line enforcer. No,
actually, it says worlds about Bailey. He blows. He sucks and blows.
God almighty.
D-Cut says, go back to Lou's speech after he won the 2019-20 GM of the Year. Calls Fredo one of the greatest minds of the game of hockey. I mean, Jesus. Gosh darn it. Who else says, speaking of Calgary, Huberdeau and Uyghur have been miserable for them so far. I told you that was a bad trade for them. Kachuk, and here's the thing, Florida has struggled as well, but I'd much rather have Kachuk.
Let me do this here. D-Cut gave us the time. Go to 240. We get to hear about that. I'll let you read this and I'll pull it up here.
Jake from San Diego says, I think we got a first and 2 seconds for Hamonic. What a steal for a guy that gave us no leverage when he has to be traded. Yeah, that's right. He wanted to go to a certain area.
To be home. Yep.
To be home. And I tell you what, kudos to again, great organization. You know,
yeah.
I mean, we might bag on the GM, the coach, players, but a great organization. And they did him a solid by sending him back there to be close to his family. Not every team would have done that. Tampa Bay never would have done that. Tell you that
Absolutely not.
Dewey Shea and the Wong family. My 2 assistants, Chris Lamorello, one of the greatest minds in the game of hockey, in my opinion. Steve Pellegrini, the most knowledgeable person that I've been around as far as resources within this game.
Okay. He looks like Biden with a teleprompter.
Okay. Oh, I got to listen to that one more time. Hold on.
Partners, John Ledecky, Dewey Shea, and the Wong family. My 2 assistants, Chris Lamorello, one of the greatest minds in the game of hockey.
One of the greatest minds in the game of hockey. He's such a great mind in the game of hockey, some would say, that he's been kept down at an AHL level for his entire career because there's never been young general managers. There's no young general managers who are possibly better minds than Chris Lamorello. My son, who is one of the greatest hockey minds. Just think about the freaking pompous freaking air that this son of a bitch, Chris Lamorello, my son, one of the greatest minds in hockey, if I do say so myself. Shut the fuck up.
Here's TJ and the grumpy old man getting their feet put to the fire, and there's Fredo living in Big Daddy's pocket. What movie is that from?
I couldn't tell you.
Scent of a Woman, Al Pacino, hoo-ah.
Hoo-ah. Oh, man.
There's Fredo living in Big Daddy's pocket.
CJ, Lupin Ranger, Red Lupin Ranger says, Timo Meyer, please.
Hey, you know what? It's not a CJ day unless it's Timo Meyer, please.
Mookie Betzer.
Mookie Betzer says, TJ, did you guys fight over the legs and dark meat on Thanksgiving with Grump? No. TJ,
all the legs are all mine. Same thing with the wings. Nobody else likes them in the family, so I get a free freaking reign.
I'm a breast man. Can I tell you?
I'll let you read the rest of these, Grump. I'm going to use the restroom real quick.
Grump, a little NHL trivia for you. Who has the most empty net goals in NHL history? I'm going to say probably Gretzky if I was going to say anybody. Don't know. Ponyboy Curtis says, hint, his name rhymes with Schmetzky. Well, there you go. Gretzky, Schmetzky. I was going to say it was definitely Gretzky. Drew L says, Bo Horvat, the Phil's Fax golden boy. I would love him on this team. Drew L also says, I guess if Hendon Hooker is trash, what does that make Bryce Young? Because he lost to Hooker. I don't think either one of them are ready to be NFL quarterbacks. Alexander says he's not even playing. I don't know who he's talking about. Evel says, right now, I would trade Bo for a draft pick and a 6-pack of warm Molson. It's got to be cold, not warm. Sorry. Joel says, damn, Pacheco already looks better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire after like 30 snaps the last 2 games. Yeah, I have him in my dynasty league. Thomas W. Bach says the problem with a rebuild could take years. How long did it take New Jersey? 8 years, 10 years? This team is loaded with untradeable contracts. Most of them expire within the next 2 years. The whole thing is the transition. You can start moving in some of the younger guys and moving out the veterans at your leisure. And after the contracts expire, do not re-sign them. That's the key. Don't re-sign them. James F. says, game of the year next week, Ohio State and Michigan. We're going to see. I think Ohio State's going to kill them. My little brownie says, how long are you prepared to wait for a successful rebuild? Years later, still waiting for the Buffalo and Yote success. Here's the thing. If you have a proper general manager who knows what they're doing, you can do a rebuild. You can do a soft rebuild. You can do a transition rebuild. It has to be done. You can't keep on doubling down on the old guys because they're going to age out eventually anyway. And if you have nobody to fill out the roster because you don't have any more draft picks, guess what? You're in full rebuild without any assets. Can't do that.
If you draft the right guys and bottom out successfully and pick the right players, you're in a good shape. Again, like it's going to take a few of the right things and pieces falling your way as it does for every team. But like you think about Colorado, when we drafted John Tavares, was equally as shitty as us.
Yep.
Colorado is able to draft the right players. Colorado makes some good moves. They acquire top 4 top pairing defensemen for 2 second-round picks. Some would say. So, they also go ahead and say, great, we've got Bynum. We were able to draft. They're able to draft guys like Alex Newhook in the middle of the first round. They're able to identify the talent and select the right players.
And then they trade off veterans and get high first-round picks, and they're able to get Byron Bertram. Right, Byron Bertram.
Who?
Defenseman.
Buy him.
Sorry, my bad.
I think he's in Boehm Byram. I think is his name.
Whatever.
Whatever the hell his name is.
He's a good defenseman in the future. Yeah.
Yes. Lou says, or Jake says, no, Lou. My 9-year-old son is the greatest mind in the game of hockey. That's right. There it is, Jake. There it is. Oh, D-Cut says, I never get credit for my excellent contribution to the show from that bald baby TJ. No, D-Cut sent this to us. What are you talking about?
I can't believe that. That's hard to believe.
Careful, TJ. Your future son may say you're the greatest minds that ever lived. Oh, good gracious. And Drew said, let's talk about that Zach Wilson meme I sent you, TJ, on Zach Wilson. I'll look at it in a second here. Emmanuel R. Grumpy.
As much as I agree about upgrading the top 6, the real issue is we need to get rid of garbage like Bailey and even Bo. Those are a waste of minutes. The majority of the team is a waste of minutes. Who's performed well this year? Think about it. Who's really performed well for the team this year? Barzal, Nelson. I'm going to throw Lee in there because he scored quite a few goals. Dobson, Sorokin, Varlamov. That's it.
Let me go ahead and show you this here. I'm going to remove this. I don't know. Drew is being so critical of Zach Wilson. I couldn't even tell you why. Pretending Zach Wilson is good.
Oh,
dead
wow.
This year.
Wow. That's bold.
I'm about to say. Not very nice. Not nice, Drew. I won't say he's not done. He's not done yet, Drew.
He doesn't have to work to play well with others.
Drew L said the Coyotes are doing the rebuild right. I think, they've got 2 firsts and 4 seconds this year and a really deep draft class. Yeah.
That's how you do. Now, here's the thing. They've sucked for a long time, but you know what? They finally they weren't just trying to restock. That's a new thing for them. What the hell happened to the Vikings?
Well,
Pieces of crap cost me this week.
I mean, like you look at the Vikings too. I think they've way outperformed what any of our wildest expectations for them were. And I think, you come off at today's game was almost like a trap game. You come off and you beat, the way and the fashion of which you had to beat the Buffalo Bills was impressive in itself. And, the Dallas Cowboys they're able to take advantage after how much energy you had to spend and kind of you get caught sleeping a bit. The Dallas Cowboys just absolutely steamrolled them.
For me, they, when teams that are flying a little under the radar, even though they only had 1 loss, no one was talking about them, All of a sudden they have a big win. They start smelling themselves a little bit. I call it the smell yourself factor. And it was really high. And those teams tend to come crashing down to earth. You see it all the time. And that's
Joseph
what
C. said, I know must have broke Grumpy Old Man's heart that TCU won by 1 point against Baylor on a last-minute field goal.
Absolutely rooting for Baylor there. But
TCU sucks.
guess who's in fifth? Guess who's number 5? Guess who's
Grumpy?
number 5? I hate to bring it up. Because we talked about the TJ the Grumpy Old Man show when Lincoln Riley goes from Oklahoma to USC. I said to TJ, within 2 years, count them 1, 2 years.
He plays no one, Grump.
Let me finish. Within 2 years, he's going to have USC in the top 4 for playing for the BCS championship. Never said the team was good. I just said within 2 years, that guy's going to turn that program around, turn him into a BC championship tournament team. Guess what?
Okay. It's
If they
a
beat Notre
college
Dame-
football playoff team.
If they
Holy
beat
shit.
Notre Dame,
The BCS championship has
You know,
been
let me
gone,
finish.
Grumpy, for almost a decade. It's called the college football playoffs, but continue.
whatever. Here's the thing. And these are big ifs. These are big ifs in year one, not even 2 years, one year, not 2, 1. If he beats Notre Dame this week, and I'm not saying they're going to happen, if they beat Notre Dame, if they beat Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game, they will be in the Final Four in 1 year, not 2, 1. Just like I told you, the guy's a really good coach, a phenomenal recruiter, good coach, not great coach, good coach.
Shitty coach, great recruiter,
And gonna get
miserable
in the Final
schedule.
Four.
Miserable schedule. The
1
Pac-12
year,
is
not
the
2,
worst
1.
conference. The Pac-12 is the worst conference in all of football. It's not even
It's not true.
close.
The ACC's worse. The ACC is
Bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
ACC's
That
worse.
is absolute shit.
ACC
The Pac-12. Who is the Pac-12 beating? The Pac-12 has beaten absolutely no one this year. Name one good win the Pac-12 has against any team outside of the Pac-12. I can't name one.
Doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? If your conference can't beat one team outside the conference, all you do is beating teams that are supposedly ranked well in your conference, but they can't beat anybody of actual substance.
I don't know what the whole conference has done, but yes, absolutely. I was super pissed off that useless TCU team beat Baylor.
USC has beaten nobody this year.
But hey-
Notre Dame is going to be the biggest game that any Pac-12 team is going to play. And Notre Dame is, they're 13th. They're a 3-loss team this year.
Okay, but they were terrible to start. They're really playing well now. I'm not even saying they're going to beat Notre Dame. I'm just saying is, I told you within 2 years, he'd have them in that Final Four within 2 years. Absolutely, that's going to happen. That's
Oregon.
all I said. And you poo-pooed me.
Oregon
You
had a
shot
really
me down.
Oregon did really well this year. They lost to Georgia 49-3 out of conference game. They beat Eastern Washington. That was a big one, Grumpy. Oh yeah, they beat up. They beat the independent BYU Cougars.
Once again, you're conflating the issue. All I said was he would get USC in the Final Four. I didn't say they're going to win. I don't think USC.
I'm saying the Pac-12 blows.
He will get them in the Final Four.
They are awful.
He'll get them in the Final Four. He's going to get them in the Final Four. Period. End of sentence, end of story. And here's the thing. If they beat Notre Dame and Oregon, there's no way they're not in the Final Four. No freaking way.
They're not beating both of those teams, so I can sleep at night and not worry at all.
They might not. That's right. They might not.
I'm not worried one bit.
I don't want you trying to twist what I said. I told you exactly what was going to happen, and I'm right again. That's why I'm Grumstradamus.
Here's the thing. You're going to be wrong now, and you'll be wrong again in the future.
Okay.
And here's another thing I told you.
This year. Not 2 years, 1 year.
No, not at all, Grumpy.
Okay.
Not at all. Here's the thing. They're going to lose to Notre Dame. Notre Dame might beat USC 35-10. They are going to sweep the floor. Notre Dame's going to sweep, and I'm not a Notre Dame guy. They're going to sweep the floor against USC.
Every single week on the TJ and Grumpy Old Man show, I keep on saying, watch out for USC. They're moving up. They lost to Utah in a game they should have won. Right?
Utah sucks too.
Okay, but that's their only loss. If they were undefeated, they'd already be in the top 4.
The Pac-12 should not have any teams.
Lincoln Riley.
Their conference sucks.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Oh, it
I'm
doesn't
not saying
matter.
they're
It doesn't
a
matter.
big team.
What I'm saying is they're artificially inflated their ranking because these pollsters believe the Pac-12 is good. The Pac-12 have beaten nobody this
They
year.
weren't ranked that high to
Absolutely
start
no
the
one.
season.
What?
They were ranked 14th to start the season.
Who?
USC. They
Okay.
were not over. They were not over. They overestimate the SEC because
The SEC is the best conference in
they
all
are the
football.
best.
Stop.
They are the best. They had Texas A&M at number 6 to start the season. What's their record? 3-7, 4-6.
The SEC is generally speaking, they should have many teams ranked.
But you said-
The Pac-12 should have maybe 2 teams rated in that entire miserable conference.
You said what they did was they were overrating.
They're
the Pac-12.
overinflating the Pac-12 teams in the
Pac-12
rankings, and they shouldn't.
No, they were not.
They
were
still.
not ranked high
No, I'm
at
not
all.
saying in the past. I'm saying they're doing it right now.
They're not. They're winning games. Other teams are losing them. They're winning them.
Oh, fucking
Period.
stop.
TCU. Is TCU overrated?
Yes.
Absolutely they are. That's right. But guess what? They're undefeated. They play
None
in
of
a
those
Power
Pac-12
5
teams are
conference.
undefeated.
They play in a Power 5 conference. The Pac-12 is better than the Big 12.
How is Washington with 2 losses 12th? Couldn't tell you.
Because-
Utah 14th.
because you know what?
3 loss
They didn't
Utah
compete.
14th. 3 losses with Utah 14th.
Well, what can I
UCLA
say?
17th with 3 losses. All those teams absolutely blow.
Well, I disagree. Like I said, I think they're the third best. I think they're the third best conference in college football. Third best.
Let time
SEC
show you.
SEC by far number 1. Big 10, Pac-12.
No.
Then ACC, and then Big 12. That's what I
Gungun says, you chaps didn't enjoy any of the culinary delights of the Dallas arena. Nothing beats a $12 knish.
Really? Are you sure?
No, we didn't go out and eat. We did a Pizza Hut. I guess we did buy some Pizza Hut pizza in there. We had a great meal. We had a great lunch ahead of time. I was like, oh, it was
I
delicious.
doubt that there's a lot of things that beat a $12 knish. That's
Oh man, would be like Grumpy saying TJ is the best reader who ever lived.
That's right. That's right. It's exactly right. That's exactly what it's like. Lamarillo saying that about Fredo. That's exactly right.
Grumpy
Bill
defect.
Stain has slipped since he shaved his head. Should have stayed with the TJ haircut. Just saying. Ouch, man. He might take a shot at you and Pellick at the same time.
Oh my God.
Actually, there could be another reason, which we're analyzing at this time. Jewel says, I got to tell you, even though it's not going to last, the Coyote small arena is electric in there. Absolutely. And it will last. Justin Herbert definitely missed Keenan Allen. He's just there. 2 deep bombs. One of them led to a TD to Josh Palmer. Looks like that's a guy I should have played today in my fantasy sport. Didn't do it. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. Look at this.
Stop playing on your fucking fantasy. Pay attention. Come on. Let's wrap this up. Gungun, Grumpy.
How come streaking was so popular back in the 70s? I don't know. Maybe just a form of expression.
Drew L.
Oh, by the way, Grumpy, I don't know if you saw that Spencer Rattler played good for once for South Carolina.
Yeah.
They beat the living tar out of Tennessee. Doubled them up.
Killed him. James F.
I wish Ohio State and Michigan wouldn't play each other next week because one of them will lose. Alabama's going to sneak in the college players. I can't stand Alabama. There's no way Alabama gets in the college.
They don't even have a chance to play the finals. So
no way.
It's going to be Clemson. Clemson's going to slip in.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Clemson is below. Clemson's not going to make it. They're below Alabama. They're below.
No,
LSU.
they're not. They're not. Clemson's 7th. Alabama's 9th. You're wrong.
So what? USC is 5th.
UFC's 5th.
If USC wins out, they're going.
They're not winning out.
Clemson might lose to South Carolina this week.
Cute.
Dang.
GL Grumpy.
Caleb Williams playing well under Lincoln Riley. I thought Lincoln would be old, but he's only 39. That dude is a legend already. He's a really good offensive coach. Really good.
They play against the worst teams in all of football.
He's a really good offensive
awful,
coach. Really good
awful
developing
teams.
quarterback.
Continue.
Really.
Awful teams. Continue.
James Farrell says Penn State wins next week. They might be in the Rose Bowl. I hope they play USC. I can't stand USC.
USC sucks, so you don't have to worry about it. D-Cut.
D-Cut says millennials never could admit they're wrong, Grump. They melt down if challenged mentally. Very true. D-Cut sees it. He sees it the way it is.
I
You
heard.
keep on
You know
trying
what?
to change what I've actually said instead of just I'm just telling you what I said, and I'm going to be proven right. You can say this team sucks, that team
You're not.
sucks.
Here's the
That
thing.
has nothing
You're
to
not
do with
going to be
anything.
proven. You're not going to be proven right. Notre Dame is going to beat USC.
I'm just
USC.
saying, in 2 years, my thing was in 2 years, this is year one, USC will be in the Final Four. That's all I
No
said.
way. There's no way.
Okay. Boy, you're mighty, just so adamant. That is no way.
Andrew said, "This is quite the promo for the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show." Yes, it is.
That show's a little more wide open.
Yeah, I was about to say. James F says, "TJ, Notre Dame lost to Marshall."
Marshall!
Yes. It was early on in the year, and teams evolve and they learn to play differently. They had multiple quarterback changes, and the
They
team
blow. They suck.
Yeah.
They suck. Notre Dame sucks. That coach is a clown.
Marcus Freeman's
never
a good
gonna make it
coach.
in time.
Marcus
Never.
Freeman's got that team headed in the right direction, Grumpy.
Yeah, back to the toilet bowl where they belong.
Matthew S. Grump.
It's 80s night and Saturday at UBS. D-Cut is going to dress up in tie-dye. That's not the 80s. He should wear the skinny ties. That's the 80s, the skinny ties.
Here, Grump.
Joel says, Chicago just retired Marion Host's jersey number. Why? I didn't get that.
Blue Jackets just beat the Panthers.
Uh-oh, watch out. Blue Jackets beat the Panthers. Could be more trouble ahead. Goon says, where can I buy Islanders Never Say Die merchandise at UBS Arena? Should I yell this question to Lou if I see him during the game in our skybox sipping prune juice? You absolutely should.
Where can I buy my Islanders Never Say Die merchandise?
Yeah. We listen to your podcast. It's great.
Oh, God.
James Farrell says, guys, what are your thoughts of the Stars Arena? It's really nice. Really nice. Really nice.
Yeah.
Liked it a lot. They put a lot of thought into it. Nice. Really nice job. Joel says, it's okay, Grumpy. You can look at your fantasy team. TJ just wants to ruin the fun of that. I love all the fantasy talk.
I hate it.
It's because your team sucks. That's why you don't like it.
No.
Goon says, which forms a sturdier bond, Crazy Glue or Gorilla Glue? It is Gorilla Glue. Let me just say that TJ was using some Gorilla Glue on a table that we had at our house, and that chunk of glue is still on that table after 20 years. It's still there. And I said, don't use the glue on the table. So TJ, what the hell, sunshine?
Let me ask you this question. Gorilla Glue. Okay. You could just get a new table after 20 years, you know?
Why? The table still works, still looks good.
It's that big chunk of glue
what
on
do
it.
you think I go out? What do you think I made of money? I just go out and buy a new table every couple of years?
You think every 20 years you buy a new table? You think every 20 years I'm going to buy a new table? Grumpy, you just said you had a table for 20 years.
I'm saying it's probably 20 years. I don't know exactly how long it is.
maybe time. Maybe
You've been doing stupid shit for a long time. So I just do 20 in there.
Jewel.
Refs trying anything they can to help Vegas get their bet on the Chargers game. They've missed 2 blatant PI calls on 2nd and 3rd down drives for the Chiefs. I'm not rooting for the Chiefs, Drew. Sorry. My little brother says, this is when you lose the few women on here, LOL, talking about college football and fantasy football on the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. Well, see, that's why we need young ladies to, well, they can be older ladies too, ladies in general, tell us what they're interested in. Maybe they like fantasy sports. I don't know.
I feel like when you do that, it's like you ever watch the Office Grumpy?
Yeah, I've seen the show. Sure.
When Michael goes and starts Scott Paper Company, he's going to the investors and he's going to his grandma. He's like, we could sell paper. If you don't want us to sell paper, we could sell drugs. You like drugs, right, Grandma? We're just trying to figure out what you like. Frank says, good point. D-Cut says, teacher looks tired, urging all members to keep commenting. Oh, goodness gracious, no. No. You go, Grumpy. Goon.
Goon says, I'm afraid we're at the end of this episode of the show. Are my fears about to come true?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I was going to say we're at the end of the show. Yes, absolutely at the end of the show.
We need the whole Avengers army of females on this show. We need to keep Delaney's mission. Need to help. Yes, we do. She was wonderful. I enjoyed meeting her. D-Cut says, Grump, explain to the millennial, that's you, TJ, that items were built to last back in our day. Thank you very much. Not everything was made disposable. Everything's disposable now. You realize, TJ, that cars used to have metal bumpers, not plastic?
So I've heard.
So you've heard. Yeah.
Man, Grumpy, we are here. at the end of the day today, Grumpy. What do you
We
want to say?
do urge
before
people to
wrapping up?
listen to the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show when it's on because it's a barrel. It's more fun than a barrel full of monkeys.
That's
Have you
true.
ever had that? Do you know what a barrel full of monkeys is, TJ?
It's like in a Toy Story, a barrel monkeys. And they
Okay.
like link their arms together and they're red things. And you have them in a barrel, a little
Toy
brown
Story.
barrel.
It was an actual toy.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was in Toy Story.
All right. But yes, I just want to say to everyone, including the people we met, love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show this evening. We will be live with you next Wednesday with Greg Prado. We'll be talking a little pop culture. So I'm going to have to bone up. I got a lot of information to study up in a short time to get there. That's for certain. But thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the show today. We just wanted to get a quick episode in for those, who, wanted to know about what the trip was. And we wanted to talk about the fantastic people we met in Dallas and, how much, we enjoy getting to speak with them, the friends we made, the times we got to spend there. It was fantastic. Great weekend, even though after a loss for the Stars. And next Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday, Greg Prado on the show again. A few more comments, Grumpy. Goon, I had a question there for you.
K Bowls popular in Carolinas? No, they're not. Grump. From Andrew L. Grump, run in there and pour an ice cold glass of water on that shiny dome to wake his ass up. Hey, wake our ass up.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. D-Cut saying, good show there. Great show. This is Matthew S. Alex saying, do you guys watch The Walking Dead? No, I do
stopped
not.
a long time ago. I think isn't today like the last episode?
Maybe. I don't know. Alexander saying, great show. Thanks again. Yep. Matthew S. saying, go USA tomorrow. That's right. World Cup.
1:00, Wales against the United States.
Hit the thumbs up. That's right. Frank says hit the thumbs up. Gugu says had a blast. Like and subscribe. That's right, says Drew L. Like and subscribe. And D-Cut says fire, Phil.
Oh, no better way to end the show.
Yeah, no better way. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys Wednesday. Until then, have a great week. Thank you again, Grumpy.
My pleasure.